sometimes it's gonna hurt. If you're ever gonna get that bad, then you better plan your attack. You're braver than you know it. You're stronger than you show it. You're braver than you know it. You're stronger.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Ultimates TV. You join us here live on Twitch with myself, Danny Boy ATM, and SirPigasus once again. The three of us were here the last time around for the GSL for Open Cup number 2. It's a pleasure to be back once again with a new look and feel as well, courtesy of Hazardprod behind the scenes, who's done a fantastic job making it look the way it does today. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking to support the Ultimates on their journey. That very, very crucial stage to try and push for the Birmingham Major. And I might as well kick things off with you, Danny. How you doing today?
What? Okay, well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here alongside the mute Danny Boy and, of course, Psycho. As per usual, we were here last Sunday for that Swiss stage, which I would say was a little bit topsy-turvy at specific moments. Not as bad as certain other North American organisations, because ultimately we do keep that 9-0 record throughout all 3 Swiss stages of this Open.
Absolutely, and myself and you, Pig, of course, had the pleasure of seeing those Swiss stages through, and we were just in awe of the improvements that were made by the Ultimates roster and the sort of leaps and bounds that had come from Open Cup number 1, where I believe there was some sort of uncertainty in the air. A lot of people doubting whether the Ultimates really have it in them to qualify for that Birmingham Major. all of those doubts have pretty much just been eliminated on the spot, courtesy of those last few performances. But just to give some more context for tonight's affairs, I think it's appropriate we do take a quick look at the bracket. So for today, of course, there are two different groups. And we, of course, are in Group B. So this is the opposing side of things over on Group A. And I believe we may have the tougher of the two. And I think I'll come to you, Danny, now that you do have a voice to you, I believe.
Are you sure about that?
I'd like to hope so.
Joe, I love how we were joking and laughing about the professionalism, and I said it was going to be covered tonight. It's nice to see I've stuck true on it. But yes, to your point in terms of Group A on the bracket itself, yes, Group B will get on to it being the more topper side of it. Let's not forget here there is still a lot of the permutation on who's actually going to qualify to Birmingham itself. Here it's going to be the major thing is complexity. Gen G in the upper semi-final, that's going to be sort of the major sort of match up there. The rest of the other ones here, I'm not saying they're not important because we just saw what European region itself in the form of GK literally produced no more than a week ago here. So anything's possible, but I would suggest it's highly unlikely on this side.
Absolutely, and moving across over to Group B, as I suggested, I think things start to look a little bit more tough, and courtesy of a shock loss, I must add, over in the Swiss stage for NRG, we have found them in the same portion of the bracket. Pig, what do you make of this?
Well, of course, you do see NRG versus 9 Lives, and as that second quarterfinal, I guess you could say, that is first seed versus fourth overall seed there. And of course, you've got the likes of finalist Space Station Gaming returning to the top 16 mix here in the third open. Tech as well, they had their sign-up issues, but after playing them in the Swiss, I think they're going to be a very competitive side. And well, the real standing Europeans as well will be the team we face in the first match of the day. Strictly Business, of course, being there. Fire Rebellion and Gas having the likes of Garrett G and Squishy Muffins versus Justin. That's going to be an insane record in of itself. So overall, I think out of this Group B, if we're talking about those permutations and potentially qualifying for Birmingham, only 4 can survive, and that guarantees disappointment for one of these teams.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a massive shock to whichever of those rosters does unfortunately not make the cut after today's events. But looking at the game that we have right in front of us, of course, it is Strictly Business. Now, this is a trio of European players taking over NA territory, should we say. We've seen it from the likes of Team Evo. We've seen some individuals, say, Justus over on Nether Canada. And now it's Strictly Business to show what's up over on this side of the pond. Crispy, Ixo, Simas to round out the roster. Loads of people over in the European space will know exactly who these players are and the history behind them. I especially look to a young talent such as Simas to be maybe a highlight player on that roster, but should be an interesting one for sure. I do believe we're trying to get the teams sorted out and ready to go, but in the meantime, Pig, in terms of predictions for this match, I think we can both agree that comfortably the Ultimates may have an upper hand here. But do you really believe that Strictly Business are going to be testing us here?
I think they can provide some tests. I just don't think they're going to get any marks. I'm still looking for a sweep out of this first series, and I'm sure the players will be as well. And when you have the potential, of course, to be playing against NRG in that second round, you've got to pick up some momentum in this first series. It is crucial. You've got to look at the tournament as a whole, not just those games ahead in these kinds of circumstances.
Absolutely, and I believe it's probably a nice idea to let you two have the spotlight. Of course, we're going to have Danny Boy and SirPigasus commentating over the first match, and as soon as that's all done and dusted, we're going to look to transition to sort of the watch party feel that we had in the previous broadcast as well. And a massive thank you to Hazardprod for getting that sorted. Danny Boy, I'll leave the stage with you.
Well, thank you very much, Psycho. And you know when Psycho, and I don't want to sort of spoil the behind the scenes here, doesn't set up me the question with a 3 European team, what I naturally would say and think here, but let's sort of touch on more in terms of the ultimate side of things here. Tonight's still not locked in guaranteed. We still have to go and perform here. The likelihood is that we do go and win, whether it's a sweep or worse, it's still the likelihood is NRG here. So I'll ask you this here: is this a warm-up series, or do they go or take this one as a downer?
I think you have to be using it as a warm-up series, but I feel like in that sense you've got to be taking it completely seriously as well. I don't think there's a difference between those two styles of play here. I don't think there's going to be any need to conserve energy. It's not going to be a long night here regardless, no matter how far you find yourself in the bracket and what mistakes you may or may not make on the way. So I feel like either way, you've just got to come out all guns blazing, get yourself fired up and ready for that second series. Not that Strictly Business should be a team to be disrespected, and I'm sure yourself will have the grandest of opinions of our opponent.
Well, certainly so. It will be interesting to see how that goes. But, Joe, when you do have three players that was European or top 16 heavyweights against, respectively, so a top 4, top 2 team in A here, there was, however, conversations with kind of Europeans with fair but moving across here. Let's cast our minds briefly here. Are you Evo not provided the biggest upset that the region has seen in some time in terms of outsiders rising in talent? The Ultimates don't want to have that same storyline. They've got to show that same ability, that performance that says everything about who they are as well as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a huge series for everyone involved. I feel like everyone in Group B getting that first series win is going to be crucial for them, because in the lower brackets, you do not want to face that gauntlet. There are such tough opponents all round, but Strictly Business, I think, may have been drawn one of the shortest draws out of either group regardless. We are going to be heading into Series 1. It will be Strictly Business versus the Ultimates. First Killer has been on an excellent run of form all season so far. It feels like he's been getting better and better as time has gone on. And I feel like this third open is the time to really prove himself and to show the world that they are not just competing here to contend for the major. They're looking to go all the way.
Well, certainly so. We will hope that is going to be the case here, but let's not jump too far away here, because in typical fashion, somebody's already having a tactical issue as well too. We have the build-up, we are waiting. The players have said, no, just help.
Oh, I would just love to get underway. Of course, we're in that Group B as well. There is a 10-minute stagger between the two groups, so we were already, waiting for that first 10 minutes past the hour. We're now 4 minutes past the initial start time, but it's just given us that opportunity to get the juices flowing and have us prepared for this series up ahead. Best of 5 as per usual, ladies and gentlemen. It's the GSL. It's Strictly Business versus the Ultimates.
Well, certainly so. The Ultimates not guaranteed just yet here. Still need a few wins on the board here before England is their destination. Strictly Business looking to return home somewhat. Well, that will take a mighty upset and half LJ from the backside here. Sell. Trying to rotate, moves that one in here. The net being already captured, dealt with 30 seconds gone by. Goalless. We can go pick at this. That was already a bit of a problem for the team themselves. What's improved already?
First Killer looking to keep this one forward. Semi-snuffing in the tank. Chronic will beat into that first ball. Second touch finds the teammate inside. It's LJ yet again, and immediately you're starting to see the Ultimate just try and clamp down on this offense. Spend as much time in this final third as possible. They love to squeeze out their opponents slowly, and if you make one mistake here, of course, the Ultimates are so good at finding their ways through those little cracks. LJ looking to keep that offense going, and Strictly Business finally get this ball forward.
Get back down here. Moving this ball side here, but Thomas himself here, the strange bit of it. Many European originally knows as the Irish player, went back for his Lithuanian route as well too. Or turning around the top 16 of the big news versus also likewise as well too. So Ireland recently getting sort of an upheaval of talent here. Shark being the latest one from there, but as that backboard looking a little bit dangerous here. First kill, opening goal for the Ultimates.
And this is exactly the play we was waiting for here. Simas makes that one small mistake, and that's exactly the moments for the Ultimates to pounce. It's what they have been prodding at that defense for. They've been waiting for their moment to break the lines here. And it's something which is so tough to face because you feel like you're playing perfect Rocket League. You feel like you were just surviving in your own third, but then there's constantly another Ultimates player waiting to continue that pressure. And when that one-off mistake finally comes, well, you're going to be sitting behind against a team that's not going to let you touch the ball in the first place.
Grip from the back lanes once more, trying to get the build up here. Niso's, it's a poor pass to be fair by him. It should be letting that one go across here. What is not necessarily ideal here, the transitional play not there just yet for the Ultimates. They are just seeing the ball, hitting the ball away here. The Europeans love to naturally clamp down on situations, get the siege properly formed. So far here, they haven't found a shot on target with all the pressure they build upon it.
And it's LJ looking to find Chronic on that right wall. First touch will allow him to just take this one forward himself. Like double commits there on the goal line, but Strictly Business have recovered themselves well. It's another shooting chance there from the Ultimates, which does go awry from the Strictly Business defense, which they have just settled with to be their style for this game. They're looking for a lot of these counterattacks and to try and catch the Ultimates off on the transition. Typically, they are a really high playing team, so that can be a weakness for some teams to break through, but we've seen that discipline just increase between every single open, and that weakness not really looking like much of one as this open has progressed. It is going to be Simas here tapping this one low. 50-50s will fight their way through, but it'll be first killer now to try and secure something in the corner.
This team go further. You have to give credit to the coach himself, San, working with the team as much as possible to playing that improvement with a sort of top side. It may be hard here, but it is a game of margins, and that one will be Strictly Business with the 50, a tie game.
And they have been looking for those 50-50s in the final third, all low, all looking to sneak it through. And typically, it's been that second option in defense that has made that final clearance. When it's not there, Strictly Business able to fight their way through. But we've seen this all before from the Ultimates. Games may seem close here on paper, but you just have that feeling that either way, they are going to find that winning goal. First killer lets this one soar past him. LJ will just tap it high here for Chronic. He'll drop back as well just to get that follow-up touch. And this is the pressure I was talking about. Seemingly a player out for play. They'll cut into that rotation. And all of a sudden, Strictly Business, thinking they'll get out with an inch of their life, have to face even more blows here from the Ultimates offense.
The quality of the strike, that's going to be what we'll be wanting here. First killer from the right-hand side, trying to sweep it in. No pass in the middle just yet. Bush still not there either, so the tank running slow. And Strictly Business with a reprieve temporarily. First killer from the halfway line. Once more through to it. Will be Crispy. He'll be not really much used to the play itself here. So the Ultimates, again for the second time, not necessarily finding the benefit of all their hard work. Good save coming on through here. Now you've got to play the clock and the opposition here.
15 seconds left, ekes over the flip reset. Chronic on the back foot, but first killer waiting to send that one long. And just as you thought, the Ultimates were the defensive team, the team in trouble here in regulation, fighting for an overtime. The tables are flipped, and now Strictly Business needs something in these final 9 seconds.
That was poor defending. That was just poor positional play. There's no excuse for that. Got away with that one. And the first killer knows he just has to send that ball long. 1 seconds as the clock does dwindle. Strictly Business, they will probably feel like they were the better side on paper. But again, we don't play on paper. We do play on grass itself here. The Ultimates, 2-1, and you know what? Not the most convincing opening game. I have to be brutally honest here, Pegasus. But, you know, a win is a win. As simple as that. You just have to get through the motions here.
Exactly. As long as you are getting those games in your favour, you can't really complain too hard. Of course, 2 goals realistically coming from slight mistakes here from Strictly Business. The first one, I think, was a bit more egregious than the second. First killer did well to find that open space and catch them on the counter. It was a lovely pass as well from Chronic on the back foot. But you want to see them create a bit more for themselves, I guess you could say here, for the remainder of this series, especially because you are setting yourself up to very likely play against NRG in that second round. So I do want to see a little bit more out the gates in this second game, but you can hardly complain with a win regardless.
Certainly, that's true as well. I was just waiting for the one to appear there, and there's the beauty of it being popped on as well too. I'm just having a quick look at the other games across there. I do see a certain Justin Town 1-1 here. Don't want to leak too much what was happening from the green room, but a certain fanboy, possibly two in this casting crew, like to see a legend do well tonight here. But speaking of the words, first kill onto the ball here. The back wall was used. Fortunately not finding the play itself here. The Lithuanian onto the attack here now, stifled to the corner, and already both sides had opportunities.
And Crispy looking to continue that chance. First killer though will catch that drop down pass before Ixo can get to the end of it. LJ wanting that second touch. Samas positions himself well to get that first touch, typically known for his collegiate performances. He's been on quite an interesting run over here in North America in RLCS, in, well, I would say certainly a top 2 region in the world. LJ will put it high, looks to just go alone here. Chronic doesn't get the touch he wants, but Ixo again with that clearance. First killer with that overlap, looking to find Chronic. He's caught a little bit too central in this initial play, but on the recoveries is where all the differences are made for this ultimate side. And well, they'll need to recover well after that bump. First killer will get that clearance, and we remain at that deadlock past the first minutes.
Took the first kill. The defence here, left scramble. It was pulled apart much earlier in the play here. I thought there might just be a boom to relieve it. Either way, that's the consequence of just not dealing with the ball at hand here at the Ultimates. Well, we've been here before. We shouldn't be panicking just yet.
Certainly, especially with that much time left on the clock. In fact, they might just get that equalizer quick. It was a very highly placed kickoff here. You're typically used to only one cheater coming up for this. Instead, they attempted a kind of 3-man squish, and that has just left everything completely open here for LJ. So I guess they can just chalk away that first goal, consider it 0-0, and, well, play on.
It was almost like a train.
It really was there. They were chucking forward. Unfortunately, that derailed relatively quickly. LJ looks to find Chronic on this left wall. Simas just trying to recover himself there, trying to find behind the ball. It's the 50-50s that have made all the difference here for Strictly Business so far. It's definitely been the strongest area of their game. Crispy was a collective flip reset off the ceiling, so instead LJ has been given an easy ball to read. First killer will look to take it alone, but Chronic is looming just underneath. Wanted to try and snipe that one down into the bottom left corner. Instead, saves are made, but LJ happy to play back up here, especially knowing that first killer is recovered as well. And I'm loving the rotation we have seen so far from the Ultimates offensively. I feel like just watching how they play on the transition is going to make all the difference.
You also have to, of course, remember the game requires defence to sloppy goals. So anyway, you can be describing them there. And the Ultimates needs to do better in that department here. You can't rely on offense all 5 minutes worth of the game. Double commit by the Europeans once more. Backboard ring read should be at least a shot on target, and all 3 have committed. A bump by Samus has just removed the play here, but possession, more importantly, will be in the Ultimates' control here if they can make a strong-footed challenge here.
And that's a big demo. Simas vote blocked here by Chronic. And it was that recovery in the defense that I called for, had to be perfect. LJ will tip this one out. It's another late save in one of these games here to keep the Ultimates alive at 1-1. Ixo will look to snipe Simas again. That double commit is going to be dangerous, but First Killer has recovered himself for the save. And it has been these bailout recoveries that saved us, I guess you could say, in game 1 and continues to do so in the second. You do not want to see this team reliant on those kinds of opportunities, but certainly something nice to have behind you. And LJ showing us what he has done in Open 2, in Open 3, Swiss GSL hybrid bracket. It does not matter. He will step up when the Ultimates need it.
Are you going to read every stage of the tournament there?
might have missed double Elim, but the top 8 teams, the top 2 teams certainly don't have to worry about that.
Well, I thought you might be mentioning, you know, Birmingham up around one. Maybe this is for the semi-final or perhaps the grand final. But am I getting a bit too ahead of myself here?
Never. That's the expectation. That's where we want to see this team reach. But, you know, got to keep the cards a little bit close to the chest. LJ here, just to show something special. He's got an ace in his sleeve coming off that ceiling first killer with some space, and it's a low boost defense as well, which is going to take some time to catch him. He'll go alone. Crispy had to force himself high for that save. That double commit as well just leaves Simas as that lone defender. That initial touch, however, does allow his teammate to rotate behind him, but still, you just look at the boost counts of Strictly Business and the general boost economy on this pitch, and the ultimates have been dominant. And when they already have such a high-paced play style which tries to force out some mistakes from the opposition, you really have to keep your cool if you want to be Strictly Business defenders. Chronic here with the 50 again, and Crispy just looks to work for something more. That open net demo, however, has no one there to capitalize.
That's somebody studying mathematics to literally describe the economy there in terms of the boost count. Looking at the number side of the game here, but the major one is 2-1, clock ticking down. Should be all send the ball downfield. Infield pass here will be met by LJ himself. Samus needs and should be keeping this ball up here. Will be accidentally done so here. Pushed all the way back here, and demo, and goal to follow suit. Well, the goal doesn't really matter. It never occurred anyway. Once again, another win on the Ultimates. It's almost getting a tad tedious saying that, because, you know what, it just keeps on happening at the moment.
And I'm sure that our producer will be wondering if you should have even bothered with loading up any other one of these hype chambers here. The Ultimates looking to secure themselves a sweep again here in this Open. They've had many to their record, being one of the most dominant forces in NA. I feel like we got a little bit of a closer taste of what the Ultimates were capable for here. They had their little bit of a hiccup in the middle game, but how they started and how they ended, for the most part, Danny, I would say I was rather impressed.
Well, I'm glad you were impressed. I think everybody in chat here is expecting a bit more here, and I'm not saying they aren't wrong to demand more. They know what the lads are capable of. It's a case of showing what you're capable of doing. You know, we all expected to play NRG in the upper semi-final, and disrespect is sort of Simply Business, but they are not of the same caliber. The Ultimates is meant to be the side to take maybe NRG to the distance, if not beat them. Is this a performance that could do it? Well, I don't think so, but I just did say this may just be the warm-up.
Yeah, we alluded to it, of course, before the series began, and I do think we have seen improvements between Game 1 and Game 2. This third game, I feel like, could be the one to turn a lot of heads. Shot coming off here, and that demo didn't quite land there for first killer. Crispy is given some space and time here in the corner. That one somehow bubbles its way to the center. LJ did well to react against it. First killer again, sending this one to the back right corner. Chronic, look at those second touches. LJ a little bit awkward initially, but it's no trouble for one of the best players, of course, in NA. So, of course, heralding from England this European roster for Strictly Business, looking to be the poster boys for that region over here in North America. With Evo's absence, they can't get a goal from that first shot. They won't get it from the second either. The Ultimates giving us a bit more of a defensive showing here for a team that many people would call certainly one of the best defensive teams in the world.
Well, do you know what? They must have known that I was on the casting duty tonight. I love a good defensive display. And do you know what? They went with flying colours this time around, but it is only one phase of play here. Chronic straight down. Fighting himself to the wall here, not necessarily being challenged with great urgency by Strictly Business now. LJ with a potential force 50 here. Thought he may have put the acceleration on there, but decides to be a tad patient. Good demo. Unfortunately, the secondary touch here takes the ball away from the net this time.
Chronic on. We'll try and look for someone over instead. It's just a blue car. It's Simas trying to get this one to Crispy. LJ does well to just hang himself in the air there to just catch a few of these dogfights out. A one-man army here to just try and slow down that offense of Strictly Business, and now he might just turn that defense into something special. The transitions have come forward. A slightly delayed shot there from LJ will not fool the defense here of Strictly Business, but it's just another one of those weapons to try and keep these defenses on their toes. Simaz looks to show us something special of his own, but LJ, a brick wall on his own goal line.
Chronic, soft second. This is ideal to the backboard. First killer is behind, but it's Chronic who will get the opening goal. And Geo Watt as well, Pegasus. First time the Ultimates takes a lead in the individual game too.
And finally, it comes underway here. The Ultimates, just before we reach that second half, established themselves with that familiar lead that has followed them throughout the entirety of this first split. LJ off the ceiling, wanted to find Chronic. Strictly Business do well to get that initial first touch, and 1-1 is a record we have seen in every single game so far, and it's exactly what Strictly Business need to hunt for in this third game. Mustn't we forget, this is match point for the Ultimates. This is to get them one series away from contention in the upper bracket, and Strictly Business, they need this for themselves to represent Europe as well, with Team Evo not being here. This is a huge opportunity for them, but the Ultimates just going to have to be a killer of those dreams. Chronic off that back wall first, killer being the second, and LJ, that's a wonderful drop down. 1-2. Some of the chemistry coming to light here in what we were calling the warm-up series before it began.
I may like to point out, it wasn't we, it was I on that one. You disagreed.
But it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both.
No.
Some disagreements on the desk, but I'll tell you what, one thing we can agree on is that surely the Ultimates take game 3. Maybe LJ scores this one off Chronic. Not quite. First killer waiting though to get that second goal, and oh my goodness, they get so close every single time, and now I just feel like the bets have to be, will they find it in the end, or is this Strictly Business defense going to continue to hold on for this final 60?
New thing that Pegasus has found the confidence to call it earlier. If he was on Mr. Worldwide of branded to 86 alongside the Romans as the European team streamcaster, they would be hiding behind a sofa, afraid to call it early. Not here, not with the Ultimates. And LJ himself, a pass over, touch too heavy here, but we did talk about the defence of the Ultimates. It was tested much earlier, round the 5-minute marks. It has barely seen a look at some point here. Chronic once more with a strong presence at the midfield. So the last 30 seconds here, and the simple message by Sad surely at this point is just keep it away.
And this is a big boom forward yet again here for the Ultimates that now have that fourth man, the clock, working in their favour. Strictly Business needs something here in these dying seconds. Crispy hunting for a bump to try and increase their number advantage. Chronic though sending this one long, perhaps towards the target, will certainly cause a shake-up, but now it's Simas, needs to be the hero. First killer will send it out, that's a huge whiff from Crispy on 0, and the Ultimates will run away with the sweep.
How did you miss that?
Oh. My goodness, that was not the best of endings there for Strictly Business. It was, I would say, a close series overall, especially if you're just looking at the goals scored between them. I believe it was a 1-goal difference between every time, but that one certainly has to hurt there for the Business. Either way, though, the Ultimates were expecting themselves to get the sweep. They do land it. I think they had to work a little bit harder than expected. But I don't think that's a cause for complaint. I like to see a team tested early and still be able to stand up on top because, you know, they're not going to be thrown immediately in the deep end for their second series, whoever that opponent may be.
A very strange way of saying that we know we've got NRG. The result hasn't came on in, but what we do certainly have is, of course, Psycho sitting ready and waiting to tell his thoughts of that series because, you know, a 3-0 needs to have a sort of analytical point of view, and I don't think he'd be the one to say easy, but I think it might just be on that territory.
Yeah, I think for us it was a relatively comfortable series amid some of the uncertainty we had given the low goal scoring affairs throughout the games. I thought that generally there was a priority placed on safety first, and that's not akin to what we saw from last week whatsoever. When we glance back towards Open Cup number 2, we were seeing challenges left, right and centre, audacious pre-jumps from the halfway line, ridiculous highlight plays left, right and centre. But for the Ultimates, it really is business in terms of how they view that series, I think. And it's going to take some warming up as the day goes to allow those mechanics to flourish, to allow that confidence to grow. But regardless, there is some interesting results ahead of us in terms of the path forwards. I know, Danny, you were very quick to suggest that NRG might be that team next up, but I think when I glanced on Liquipedia, it was in fact a 2-1 the direction of 9 lives in that match, which is a ludicrous statement. And of course, the one that myself and Pigasus were looking at as another really entertaining matchup, Rebellion versus Gas, has gone a 4-3 the direction of Gas. So that is the old world champions from a bygone era cementing a win against the Shopify side, which has really flourished lately as well. So moving forwards, I'm going to try and take a quick peek at that matchup between NRG and Nine Lives.
Well, I can give you the update right now. The game 4 just finished 3-0 in the favour of NRG. So game 5 will be coming up just shortly as well. So we might have to see the 9 Lives logo briefly on our screens here. But I think we might, correct me if I'm wrong here, Psycho, but I think the Gas Rebellion match might be the one we want to see more here.
Yeah, the Gas Rebellion side, the match that I was watching just briefly there, I thought was finished given the scorecards. I thought it was a 2-2 affair and Gas had finished it out, but they are still in that matchup, of course, so I think it'd be wonderful to take a look at that. So this is game 5. At the moment, Gas, of course, playing this more so for fun. They're coming into this competition as a team that really believes that they're not going to make it too far, of course, especially when we look to the likes of Squishy Muffins. They have completely pivoted their career outside of things other than just play. I believe he's gone on to co-ownership for Cloud9 as well, plus all the content creation on the side. So these are some busy guys putting in a really respectable performance, Pig.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see that they are making top 16 still. I mean, it just goes to show you how much a legends of the game they truly are, that even in their, retirement stage, whatever you want to call it, they're reaching heights that, players that you would call active are struggling to reach at this point. I mean, they've made the same amount of top 16s as some of the top contenders. Space Station, Team Evo, Pioneers as well. Just goes to show you that, well, form is temporary, class is permanent, and Gas, I think, exuberate exactly that there, Psycho.
Yeah, absolutely, but they have dropped 1 goal back, and I should probably close my mouth, because Gas have equalised. That was pretty quick. It seems like a very loose goal to concede, I must say. Garrett G has lobbed it in from the halfway line there.
CJ is stressed to watch that one go in here. I mean, Shopify Rebellion, technically still in the standings to make the major. They need some ridiculous results to go their way. Most notably, they would need the likes of 9 Lives to drop out in 16th place. With the way they've been performing against NRG, that's looking rather unlikely, but still really impressed with what I'm seeing from Gas. And Rebellion, who knows, maybe they just need some time to cook up. I feel like this is something that happens a lot to them in the GSL stages, where they'll have these games where they look amazing, they look unstoppable. I think it just completely flips in the other direction, Psycho, and I just don't really understand it.
Yeah, neither, and I've just seen Danny jump for joy, and I'm wondering what's happened. Would you like to tell us?
Shout out class.
Well, certainly so here. I'm not paying attention to the 2 fanboys watching that game. I'm too busy watching NRG just conceding a 2nd goal!
No!
9 Lives are 2-1 up in the decider, and Beast Mode misses a sitter.
Producer, can we potentially switch? I don't know how much time's left in that game, and I don't know how difficult it is for you. I've just seen Gas take the lead as well against Rebellion. What is going on
I don't know.
NA right now? It is chaos absolutely everywhere. We will switch over to that NRG game when this match ends. Apparently, Hazard is saying, but we're getting protests in the booth. Oh my goodness! There's too much happening at once. North America is cooking.
They're finally finding what it feels like to be a European region for a change. Something else is happening than expected.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, and it's 2-2 for Rebellion just as I look away. I feel like I'm playing whack-a-mole at the moment, Psycho, with just all these goals that are happening all around Group B. I mean, we knew that this was going to be the group of death. We knew it was going to be entertaining, but the one series that we thought was assured just isn't going that way.
No, it's ridiculous, and we've seen NRG falter to teams that we really don't expect them to. We glance upon that Swiss series, or the Swiss stage rather, of the competition, and even them dropping one game alone came to us as a shock. And of course, our performances across our games against NRG in past has proven to us that we are making big strides, and NRG, if anything, are faltering. I can see Danny Boy still enjoying the action, still getting hyped for the series. And of course, Gas and Rebellion still 2 apiece at the moment. I've seen this ball in the blue half for a ridiculous length of time now.
A concerning length of time. Ooh.
I'm just going to cut in just for a brief moment. It's 2-2 at the moment, and 9 Lives had a decent chance to score here. I don't want to sound a bit typical here, but is there a goal, Pegasus?
There is a goal! Gas have just scored one with 1 minute left on the clock here in Game 5 versus Shopify Rebellion. What on earth is going on in North America? I feel like I keep on asking this. And we knew that there was like a little bit of a curse that was going on where, top sides would just randomly not make top 16, and that's just a thing that we had to live with. But with this much all happening at once, Psycho, I'm just hoping that we escape all this, cursed magic that is going around at the moment.
You know what? That would be really, really nice. And I think if we do end up playing a team that isn't called NRG in the upper bracket semi-finals, I'm going to be even more confident than I was before coming into this broadcast. I'll be completely honest with you, Pig, and I thought that it would be NRG that we're going to come up against, and it may still be, but regardless, 9 Lives, they're a strong roster in themselves. They are up there in contention with potentially making that sort of top spot. I believe they're currently sat in 4th in terms of points overall. 13 is the total to their name. So pushing forwards, if they can have a good performance today, could be them that we're seeing at the Birmingham Major too.
And well, you've seen it on your screen here. Gas do grab victory against Shopify Rebellion, and switching over as well. NRG currently holding the lead in the last 70 seconds. And Danny, oh my goodness, I don't know what feed is watching. Danny, what's the feed with the rest of us? If you're ahead or behind, I don't want to hear your celebrations or your moments of anguish. Oh, no way! No way!
Hold on!
Lives had 2 opportunities saved off the line. It was at one point there, it should have been probably 4-2 NRG, but 9 Lives, they're a tricky little team. They can't be put down at the moment. Under the minute still left here. As you said here, the winner of this one, we do go on the play here, but NRG does not look like the NRG that everybody knows right now.
Well, maybe it's the one that me and Pegasus started to see signs of, but it's still 3-3. Beast Mode has a chance, and there's only one defender.
Scary.
This is pretty terrifying. It could be another shooting chance for Atomic. That one's gone over the crossbar as well. Another touch laid down. Another save from 9 Lives. They're just absolutely rattling this ball side to side to side to side, and maybe there'll be a counter-attack at some point.
Oh, you would like to hope so here, but the thing is, when NRG grab an offense, it's so hard to take it away from them. Few teams have been able to do that. We saw sights of ourselves be able to do so in the grand finals against them. But I tell you what, if NRG are playing like this, I mean, this is our best opportunity to take the qualifier. I mean, it's just that simple here. There have been a clear top 2 teams. Okay, maybe top 3 if you want to include our other rivals' complexity in this. But here we go. It is overtime versus 9 Lives. And, well, the winner, the next goal scorer, gets the reward of having to play the ultimates, Danny.
Well, that's a strange way of saying that, but yeah, it's not a reward. It's a punishment for playing well. I mean, sorry, but what is the confusion thing is that the NRG is so structurally sound here. I mean, I think it was Jack and Johnny was doing it on the rank up sort of videos, how well they were playing, the full breakdown in terms of that. it's not even close to how good they can be. That's the odd thing about them. But again, they're the defending champions. You expect them to have the odd drop in performance, but pick it back up again.
Oh, and this one might just sneak through here. What a save out on the goal line here from Hoxer. Of course, former teammate of our very own LJ. He's very seeing those kinds of saves go in his favour. And I think in this sense, he would agree, but he's going to be supporting his boy Hoxer. He doesn't want to have to face NRG in the upper semi-finals. Reserve that for granted, if they even get this far with how they've been playing in this final open. Is Hoxer again taking it high? Come on, give us something special. He's tapped it past beast mode. Oh my goodness. Atomic with the same Psycho. I cannot handle it.
And Atomic seems to have a counter. Chicago is somehow there. He just came out of nowhere. Oh no, that one might be in. It's in! It's in! Beast mode has spoiled the party!
Oh. Well, they're just inevitable, aren't they? I feel like they had a bit of a shaky period last open as well. Last open as well, if I'm correct, in one of those upper bracket semis where they were performing strangely, I think it's best to say, against Omelette. So there's something, about the GSL and the Swiss stage where they do just have to have one of those shaky games. Not to say that 9 Lives are bad opposition, of course. I mean, Hoxer and Chicago have proven themselves many times. Kofa coming in the ranks and, well, he got the top score there for 9 Lives in that last game. He has been an elite talent to add to those two players. But still, against NRG going to Game 5, I mean, many people think you have to go international to have any form of competition for this well-dubbed NRG2 roster.
Yeah, and now that series is done and dusted, that's our opponents guaranteed. We will be up against NRG in that upper semi-finals. And of course, there is a comfort blanket of the lower bracket for whichever of those two teams do go on to falter in the series. The Ultimates, though, one thing's for certain, we are looking stronger than ever. We have performed with so much level of growth and development across these Open Cups. I do believe we are going to cut to a short break. From myself in the booth, Danny Boy and SirPigasus, we'll be seeing you very shortly.
It's making me realize everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I. Everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I. never enough to have just everything you want. In your shadow I found a place to hide me from my own thoughts. And if I ever got lost, you'll find a way to bring me home. And I want something I can hold that's worth this waiting cold. And I want something that is real, something to make me feel alive.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ultimates TV. You join us in the second round of the GSL stage here in Open Cup number 3. We've just witnessed what was a very sort of close affair, albeit a sweep from the Ultimates at the end of the day against Strictly Business. Moving forward in the bracket, we have an opponent that we have quite a long history with over the course of the last 2 Open Cups, that being NRG. Myself and you, Pig, we have been seeing this matchup on repeat over and over, it seems. Do you think today's the day?
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially with how they performed in that last series. I mean, okay, very good on the bounce back usually, but I feel like the Ultimates being the second best team in NA, if we want to go by statistics, and my best team in NA heading into this third Open, I've got some confidence that this is going to be the moment to take them down. Maybe we'll rematch them in the grand finals, but this is truly where we establish ourselves, especially after that grand finals performance, which I think was a step in the right direction.
Absolutely so, and I know, Danny, you had an opportunity to catch some of the action towards the tail end of NRG's last matchup, where they really did have a difficult time, and I believe were brought to Game 5 by 9 lives. Were there any sort of moments of uncertainty, any chinks in the armour to speak on in that series?
Well, I think if you were listening just before we went to the break, my vocal range may have indicated that point quite well. Look, when we speak about champions, we don't often sit there and say that a side is playing badly or awful. We normally sit there and say how well they play. The fact that they were leaving the net so exposed, essentially to be slaughtered on home by a team like Nine Lives, not to disvalue what they are, but when we talk about NRG, you have to put them on a pedestal. When the ball's being passed from the wings into open spaces, Psycho, as you rightly know here, it's a decent opportunity for any team to slot, well, any type of goal against any type of roster. It just happened to be NRG today, so there is weakness there. It's just a case on, can NRG sort that out? Well, hopefully, no would be the answer to that question too.
Yeah, and just taking a look at NRG from the past and the series that I've been able to watch of the Ultimates against them, I believe one of the major sort of strong points that they might have a roster is just how defensively solid they can be. So this does come as a massive, massive shock to all of us in the booth, and hopefully that sort of level of play can transition across to this upper semi-finals. I would quite like a little path into the upper finals, because at that point we really don't have to do much heavy lifting when it comes to that playoffs bracket. It'll set us up nicely in terms of a seed, and hopefully everything's good to go from there. Of course, tonight's events are not just all that's on the table. There will be the playoffs coming up this weekend as well, and of course we are needing that top 4 spot for the sake of our solidity and our certainty moving across into the Birmingham Major. There are so many situations and directions that this could go for any number of teams still within, I believe, the top 13 in terms of points, and maybe a few outsiders still left in play as well. So it still is anyone's game, and we need to focus on getting this one right. I do believe we have the Ultimates and NRG in a quick test lobby, making sure everything's good to go. So, Danny boy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Myself and Pig will be taking over affairs for this particular match. And Pig, before we do get involved with the series, the Ultimates, that first series, I know yourself and Danny were speaking on some of the timidness that might have come into the play. Is that beginning to worry you at all?
I think it's a bit of a mixed bag here, because you know the Ultimates for their offense, you know them for the amount of pressure they're able to apply and being able to break down essentially any defense that comes against them. But I mean, our biggest criticisms for them in the last Open, and especially when we spoke about Open 1 as well, was that defensive solidity. So having them get, a little bit of practice in that regards before they play NRG, I feel like should be treated as a bit of a positive in this second series here, and I think that will play into their favour, especially with how that last grand finals went as well in that second Open, where NRG, dare I say, looked beatable at times. It certainly wasn't the smoothest they've ever played, and I will say, I feel like quite a lot of that has leaked its way into this third Open, which of course opens up the doors for us here at the Ultimate.
Absolutely, and a massive thank you to Crespa over in chat for the raid. I hope your stream's gone very well. Welcome to all of the Ultimates fans who have flooded into the chat. We're hoping this series is going to be an absolute thriller. Of course, we're going to be very much biased towards the boys in red, but NRG also some boys in red. We have to be careful not to get the two confused in this one. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the upper semi-finals, the Ultimates on the blue, NRG in the orange. Let's get stuck in.
Beast mode starting things off here. Flip Breezer immediately dunked here by First Killer. That's a matchup that we are going to see plenty of times heading into this series. The two players which you could say are contesting for best player on their team, best player in NA, perhaps even best player in the world. But I'm sure a certain Carmine Core player will have his agreements on that. LJ will throw this one high here immediately. Daniel pounce high, and already you can feel that this is going to be a faster paced game. This is a rematch of the North American Grand Final. And well, just like any other time, may the best team win. Shots here from Daniel, saved out by Cron.
And Beast Mode now with a chance to air dribble across, and the ball's just going to falter and flop in that midfield area. First Killer with a smart touch over to space in that back third of NRG. At the moment, we're just looking to see that sustained level of pressure from the Ultimates. And hopefully we can lock them in that half.
First Killer looking to do exactly that here. As soon as it's passing that midfield line, there's constantly an Ultimates player lurking. Chronic looking to try and contest this one through, but it was a good first touch there from Beast Mode, which kept this one out of their net. And you spoke about that defensive prowess that NRG have, but when you have three consistent, uber mechanical players on your team, that's something you've just got to come to expect here. Huge save coming from Beast Mode. Atomic on the follow. LJ having to fight his way forward, and it's just these kinds of positions where you have to work so hard to find something. You've got to be disciplined, but when the moment presents itself, LJ, show us what you're made of.
This player is not to be messed around with when you give him a little pocket of space. And the Ultimates have done so well to exploit those gaps on the infield. First Killer's going to try and do exactly the same thing and drop that ball down off the crossbar as Beast Mode now for the counter. Not going to go too far down the field, and First Killer with an acre of space to play out of defense here.
And it's put high yet again here. Chronic will be patient on his own lines. Let's LJ take that one over initially. Chronic will bail away for the 100 boost, waiting for Atomic to let this one falter. It does somehow find a teammate here. It looked dangerous at first, but NRG constantly with that B plan, C plan, D, every single letter of the alphabet, and it's why they are two-time champions and why they featured in the last 12 grand finals. That is including lands like the Major and Worlds, of course. But First Killer, he does not, of course, drop down his performance for any team here. He has no fear, and well, all these opponents are going to fear him regardless. LJ up in this corner, and First Killer again looking to try and find some space.
And as the play transitions across, Chronic in the corner is just trying to bait out that first man in Daniel. It's a lovely challenge at the end of the day, and now the ball settles down in NRG's possession. Beast Mode for an air dribble across is just going to simply give away possession, and it's a freebie that Chronic's going to be happy to run away with. Here comes LJ into the mix. No bump with near zero boost, but Atomic with the flip off of the wall there. And NRG, every time they do get into some space, I'm sensing they're rushing the play. It's almost a level of desperation to find opportunity here.
And this one flies out for Beast Mode. Zero boost of a tank. Chronic has to burn it all just to contest here for all those 50s. LJ's flick high here will force a heavy touch out. First Killer has to work hard to get that first one to his possession. The second one finding Atomic right inside. Chronic off the ceiling has a reset to use. It is going to be Daniel yet again to try and snipe out Beast Mode. Atomic dropped out, and you can feel in these kinds of moments here, it does start to feel like a bit of a neutral game as the Ultimates look to hold on to this one goal lead, and NRG continue to show off that 50-50 dominance that has done them so well in the past few years.
And in the blink of an eye, Pig, we're down to just 1 minute left to play. This game has really just happened so quickly, and it seems as if the Ultimates and NRG are both trying to step forward with caution, timidness, awareness. They don't want to throw all of their cards onto the table nice and early. from the Ultimates perspective, there's only 40 seconds left to hold on to this established lead as First Killer in the corner has 100 boost and just lets LJ get involved himself. Touch against the corner and an easy clear now for Beast Mode to get out.
And again, 50s here with Chronic. Beast Mode looking to cause some late drama in this game and potentially contest for an overtime. As it stands, Ultimates do have this first game in hand. It's a lovely touch from First Killer. Beast Mode is forced within the confines of his own net. He doesn't cover well, however, to clear this one out, and it just feels like the first mistake isn't enough. You have to force a second, a third out of NRG before you have a clear-cut chance to get your goal across, and they did manage to get one a little bit earlier in this game. They need a save on 0 seconds. LJ has to just aim for that floor. That corner, though, will keep this ball alive, and we've seen plenty of 0-second goals for NRG with this roster and in their history. But Ultimates survive in this first game and take a crucial lead in this best of 5.
And I'm going to try and avoid getting too excited too quickly, because we
I'm
know
trying.
that NRG have a lot to offer, and it would be a massive, massive shock to the world to see them in the lower bracket so early. But let's face it, it's their own undoing ever since that Swiss stage where they did drop that series and end up on the same side of the bracket of us. It'd be punishment. It'd be tough to deal with, but we've seen the complexities. We've seen how elevated the Ultimates play can be. We saw the solo play from LJ, and it was just one moment of magic that made all the difference, Pig.
Well, if you need a little bit of magic, why don't you get yourself a World's Offensive MVP? I mean, that is what LJ is on the team to do, to make that difference, and you can say that for any single one of these players. Frankly, on the pitch, I think there's real arguments that these are the 6 players in NA, period. That's why you've seen them contest against each other's in grand finals, semi-finals, upper quarter-finals, upper finals, every single late stage of course, these brackets. Why it's such a shock that we do see it so early, and what is, like I said, such a crucial stage of a bracket. You win this, you're one series away from the hybrid to making that top 4, and that would qualify the Ultimates. And if they find themselves in lowers, they're going to need 3 in a row. Huge
Absolutely
difference.
so. NRG almost had a quick glimpse of an opportunity early on there, but we just managed to scarper back in time. First Killer with no boost does still find a touch on that play, and Chronic to come forwards now. Doesn't have any options to work with, so it's back to the hands of Chronic. And all the way over to the opposite side once again. NRG still maintaining, let's say, that possibility of a problem of just getting rid of the ball a bit too quickly. The Ultimates now afforded a chance. First Killer for a nice first touch. A reset to his name as well. And Beast Mode dropping that down. Does find a boost on First Killer as Atomic weaves this ball central. Still numbers in the blue territory. So we're comfortable as things stand.
LJ looking to keep it comfortable here in the corner. Chronic will be right behind just to keep it in that safe space. They're trying to pick their moments where they can try and initiate some sort of transition to offense for themselves. For now, they are just going to have to soak up this lackluster offense here from NRG. Those corners are safe. It's when you start to give them central space, the real issues are caught, and that demo might just give them the opening they need to try and find it. Daniel's up, shot across. LJ with the squishy save. Sends this one across, and NRG, you can tell in the early stages of this second game, are here to fight back.
Absolutely, but it's still quite limp as far as I'm concerned. The ball is just being smacked to our backboard, and it's so comfortable for these defenders to deal with. We're happy to invite and absorb the pressure and just play on the counter, as LJ is going to do exactly that, albeit with not too much boost that time around. And with one booming clearance from Daniel, Chronic allowed into the play. Infield pass. Danny was speaking about just how valuable and how frequently those opportunities can present themselves. But finally, NRG to put in a first goal.
And it's like I said, as soon as they find themselves that little bit of central space, that demo was the reason that it was there in the first place. NRG will be able to get that first goal. That's why the Ultimates have worked so hard to siphon them off into those corners. It's the first time the Ultimates sit behind against NRG today, and well, this will be the big test to see if they can fight back.
Infield pass towards LJ! And an absolute bullet towards that bottom left as well. Beast mode and absolutely nothing he can give to the equation. And LJ's done the maths.
That's your instant answer. And it's that space interpretation that has made the difference for both of these teams. Chronic does so well to pick out that space on the left side. And of course, LJ was lurking. Back to an equal game here in this second half of Game 2. Ultimates looking to throw themselves down onto a match point situation. But that is not going to come easy. First Killer forcing this way forward. A few wall dashes. Will look to keep him involved, but that one just taps its way past. Beast Mode with a good first touch. Bump there on Chronic. First Killer, nothing on the tank. Thrown off the pitch, but still did exactly what his job called for. Daniel again, flip reset. Back forward, and First Killer back off the respawn. Has to pick quick whether he wants to get that corner boost or that save. But that beautiful decision making is what's kept the Ultimates alive and what's kept them competitive as well in North America against what has been such a dominant force for quite some time. And you want to speak about dominant forces, Beast Mode does it again.
Yeah, and we can't forget that Beast Mode is one of the top players in the world in many players' estimations at the moment, and it's moments like that which can show his brilliance. Just a perfect little soft touch and he drew out all of those defenders, and quite frankly a very difficult one rather for the Ultimates to deal with under any circumstances. But we do trail a goal. Now coming forwards into offense, we're looking to try and spark some more change. It's been LJ to be that catalyst thus far as that ball drops down towards the halfway point. First Killer's lost out on a 50 there, but Chronic deep in the play to filter that ball away.
And again, out that front is Chronic wiped away. First Killer does well to keep his cool, just contest for a 50 here, not getting too overcommittal in those attacks. Chronic will just drop down at 50. LJ, again, just trying to find some wider space here, trying to make that counter-attack NRG as difficult as possible. They know that it's going to be coming. And that's why LJ, even low on boost, has to position himself perfectly on these back walls. First Killer will send this one across for his own, and 45 seconds left on the clock. You're begging for something here out of the Ultimates, and this potentially could be that attack.
Well, Atomic's just launched that ball infield towards that Starman again. Beast Mode fortunately couldn't find a touch on that one, and First Killer is going to breathe a little bit of fresh air towards the opposition back third. Chronic on target, slips underneath Daniel, but Beast Mode scoops up the missing pieces as LJ, who's been the highlight player so far for the Ultimates, finds his teammate back across again. Maybe it's going to work this time around as they loop from the corner. 10 seconds remaining on play, and just one infield pass could be the difference maker. Looks like NRG's got our number though. Chronic infield for one last hurrah. First Killer off the backboard, maybe a chance for LJ. But NRG do see it away at the bitter death of game number 2.
It's exactly what you would expect from this kind of matchup, forced through till that final second here. Both teams have to play close to peak performance to be able to even catch up. A 1-goal difference again separating the scorings, and yeah, it was a little bit more impressive there from NRG compared to that first game. And you really cannot count out the Ultimates regardless. They had their chances. They, I guess you could say, gave away one of those goal opportunities a little bit later on, where a bit of an overcommit there allowed NRG to take full advantage of the space. But with a Beast Mode masterclass as well to match, I mean, it just leaves you begging for a little bit more here out of this third game. Not a bad spot to find ourselves here, because I tell you what, it's more than most teams can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. And still there is progress to be made for the Ultimates, courtesy of Hazard in the background, pressing all the buttons for tonight. We were able to see how that story unfolded, and you're absolutely right, that first goal was a complete giveaway from the Ultimates, and moving forwards, that is not representative of what we can bring to the table. If we can patch up those tiny little flaws, go from a fresh start, maybe we'll be in with a better chance. But Daniel is going to sneak in an opening goal, albeit off kickoff. They have done it pretty quickly there, Pig.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare start here out of game 3. You're looking to get yourself fresh off the gates, trying to fight back from that momentum that NRG have managed to grab with getting that last game. And, you know, the Ultimates had the last offensive chance in that second as well. Look to build off that. That's shattered now, and it feels like you are back to square one. You don't want to be given NRG these gimme type of goals because they will hold you to a close game every single time. And with their defensive prowess, every goal feels like it's worth 3 if it were in any other series.
LJ on the back lines has to do all of that hard work by himself, and First Killer's accidentally touched that ball towards our own net. Let's call it a bait. Let's just say it was intentional. Fling the NRG players forwards, and maybe we can get something on the receiving end of the counter. Daniel's going to strike another one down. It's 2 goals to NRG, and I'm not sure where to go from here.
And it felt like that one was a long time coming. Chronic's completely beat there by Atomic, and LJ, to be fair, it was a miraculous pinch to have that ball saved and to prevent that goal just a split second earlier. I mean, it's a double-edged sword now, I guess you could say, Psycho. Well, you know, NRG, they have been given a 2-goal head start, but means plenty of time left on the clock for Ultimates to respond. And LJ, they can take advantage here of a well-positioned First Killer. NRG, though, had that defensive positioning to match as well. We do break past that first minute with, you know, shivering hands here looking at the line up top. But LJ, they can turn this one around. It's a nice pass here to First Killer, going for the mind game, but Atomic does well to contest for the bump afterwards. Chronic right behind. LJ snaps the post. And that demo will not create an opportunity here for the Ultimate. But one of those chances that you do feel had to be put away.
But I will be honest, Pig, even though that ball didn't find the back of the net, that was the most promising play from either side in the series so far. Beast Mode has a chance to put another one in, and does so, sadly, for us. But that was a beautiful piece of attack from the Ultimates. We saw back passes left, right and centre to continue the play. We picked our times to enter, to get involved, to play those shots. And unfortunately, just one piece of woodwork on that left-hand side was the only thing preventing us from that 1 goal to our name.
And I think you can still see it shaking there in the distance with the amount of power that they were able to get off the end of it. First Killer can't get that sidewall touch. Beast Mode as well. Tripping the ankles here of FKLJ. To wait close here in that corner. And again, it's just able to snipe out these little touches that really throw out the Ultimate's defense. Even still, they are able to survive that one attack. Chronic to try and transition it something a little bit more special, but tries you would like here. NRG doing so well to match on the defense. Their transitions are rapid when they come as well.
First Killer to play infield. I thought he may have a chance to pinch it down, but far from it in reality, as Atomic is going to let Daniel play with his own food at the 3-goal advantage that they do have. And Chronic's smart to just absolutely lob the ball downfield. First Killer wants to hurry to put the ball in front of the goal mouth as well, as LJ filters it across to the side. Daniel there to scoop up the missing pieces quickly as he needed to. LJ slows the play down over to the backboard. First Killer. Chronic potentially with a shot towards the top corner of the net. And again, it's that heads up bit of genius in front of net to slow the play down. And it's got us a first hit.
And Atomic and Daniel tripping over each other's feet there, covering just that same area of the goal. That slight opening exploited so well there by Atomic to get that first goal. And this is where, you know, you want them to be screaming in the comms. You want them to be giving each other that little bit of excitement, because this game is not over yet. First Killer with the setup, and it's Chronic to keep those dreams alive in the third.
Do not count us out. You've seen us time and time again. We are capable. The Ultimates. 1 goal separating us now from equalising in a game which has almost been written off by many far, far too early. And Chronic's going to lob that ball downfield. Beast Mode to see away the danger. LJ needs a strong 50 here. He's opted to leave it for First Killer, an even better option than I could see, as Chronic plays it to the wall. Sidewall imminent to the backboard. Maybe a miss from Daniel, but LJ really thought he was going to get a touch there.
And I thought for a second we were going to see a psycho attempt there from LJ. I'm sure we would have all loved to see that with the man himself present. Instead, a little bit more discipline to keep this ball close and try and calculate a bit slower here, these counter-attack chances. LJ looking for that double tap. Daniel, though, does so well not to get the defense, but also to send something towards goal as well. First killer sends this one flying off the crossbar. It's a tight play, but this one has to be played fast now. Low boost temporarily for NRG. Drop down to LJ, but Beast Mode will pick that one up with a nice soft touch here to lay off his teammates.
Maybe 4 or 5 gorgeous opportunities for the Ultimates, and they just need to make one stick as that ball's down off the ceiling, and a double commit from First Killer and Chronic is going to leave a 3v1 at the back for LJ to deal with. Unfortunately, the hounding of all 3 of those neon orange cars was a little too much.
And, well, we've had some miraculous saves so far in this game. The amount of pressure that NRG have been able to provide. And, well, it's just a numbers game. We look at a probability. Eventually, one of them was going to sneak through the cracks, and it just felt like that was one of those goals. It might be the decider here for this third game, unless First Killer can give us something quickly. Chronic has that left boost to look out for. Beast Mode just snubs it right underneath him there. First Killer having to avoid a bump as well as he just tries to make something happen. Team pinches do not quite land either. So in the final 10 seconds, it looks essentially guaranteed now that NRG will be the team to find themselves on match point. The Ultimates fought harder in that second half, but that head start that NRG were given in the first did make the difference here to give them that match points.
Moving forwards, there's so much work to be done now for the Ultimates. The lower bracket is not a tasty affair. It's not as if I'm going to be licking my lips and saying, you know what, those opponents are ones we can deal with easily, because we are in that group of death. This series is probably more important than you do realise. NRG still taking it in their stride at the moment. And we can just see some of those replays come through. It was calamitous at the start, wasn't it, Pig, in terms of just how unstructured the defence was. But as the late stages of the game grew, we started to see those moments of brilliance, those creative plays come to fruition. Do you believe?
Do I believe? Like, I asked that again, a little bit louder, just so everyone can know what you just... In case they just tuned out there for a second.
Do you believe?
Psycho? We have a team of First Killer, LJ, and Chronic. Do I believe? Of course I do, First Killer! They call him the boogeyman. They cause nightmares for the opposition. Chronic, the Sandman, with the way he turns dreams into reality. And LJ, just that wild card that can get the job done. So do I believe here in Game 4? Absolutely. We have kickoff, 15 seconds off the pass, and Ultimates will strike back.
We in the booth believe, and I can see some resurgence from the chat in their beliefs as well. And we're hoping that we can see this one through quickly. Chronic towards the backboard. Allows First Killer into the play. Decided to run all the way back and take possession from his own half. It's a smart decision. They do have overall possession here. Chronic, though, needs to keep this ball close. Demo on the play from Atomic to disrupt, and a bump from Beast Mode to do exactly the same. But Daniel left all alone in the defense.
And Daniel, contested there by 2 Ultimates players. He's still able to get this one forward and the 100 boost. He'll bail away from this one to allow LJ try and face off against Beast Mode. Off the ceiling, those drop down passes made all the difference in that second game. The Ultimates, though, have caught tune to it, especially with the amount of times these 2 teams have played each other. This time, the woodwork will be on the side of the Ultimates. It remains goalless. Chronic might just change that. It's on target in the dunk. He was able to make a connection. It couldn't fight its way through. NRG do hold on, but the Ultimate bringing back something special. LJ! That is disgusting there to open up the scoring.
He's played that reset whilst basically scraping the floor. And he's scraped away the third man as well. It's a 2-for-1 special for the Ultimates, and it's put 1 on the board in a game that we really do need to take. I asked if you believed. That's going to reinstate that belief even further.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm ascending with every single touch here that the Ultimates are able to grab here. First Killer Contesting at that front post. Beast mode, Atomic, absolutely no problem here for the best in NA. You know what? I'm going to call it right now. You don't get 650 points per game in an upper quarter final without having that title. First killer dropped down to LJ yet again. It's going to be a 1v2. LJ, though, has those options behind him just in case he needs it. Chronic looking to be that initial option. First killer will take over. Beast mode will send it long here with a save. Chronic is demoed off that play. That smoke screen, however, I don't think is going to be in the favor of NRG. LJ again just looking to fight his way through, and in the corner, absolutely zero problems here. Demoed off. Atomic will just look to scramble their way out, and I tell you what, I haven't seen NRG scramble like this since the 2 wins we were able to grab against them in the grand final.
Oh my goodness, that could be another one! The direction of Chronic. A Chronic pain to the defense of NRG has been struck, and a gorgeous infield pass as well. The damage well and truly done. And NRG in dire need of a doctor's appointment.
And Atomic, pick your poison. Own goal or let Chronic sink that one away was inevitable from that first touch. And the ultimate with some venom behind. Another demo from Chronic to act as that catalyst. And first killer, that premier man, will get the job done.
118 rocketed towards that back net, and NRG are going to be fuming. They know that this is another game 5 situation that they don't necessarily want to have, and albeit there's less stakes on the line for them as well, they're not going to have that same passion, that same drive, that same energy as we do. We're fighting for that Birmingham Major, and at this rate we're going to get it.
Fights for that Birmingham Major, and we're not talking about contention. We want to bring home that trophy, of course. We're looking not just to be the Titans of NA, we're looking to be the Titans of the world. And this kind of performance continues to instill that belief that this can be the team to do it. LJ holds this one close, and Chronic looked like he was rotating back. Instead, got himself involved just to dribble that one around. First killer given that easier touch here. Chronic to LJ just coming off that back wall. A miracle touch. Sees first killer drop that one down off the ceiling. And I am licking. So I'm sucking on every finger because my goodness, that one is juicy.
We saw something very similar recently, didn't we? First killer's ceiling touch over in Open Cup 3. Well, we're at Open Cup number 3. It was in the Swiss stage of the last time we took to the field. We saw something very, very similar indeed. And it was magic to hit those social media channels as well for the Ultimates. 5-0 against NRG, supposedly the best in NA. I know you have something to say about that, Pig, and myself as well at this point. Just takes one more game after this 1 minute has elapsed, and we could be new favourites for this particular stage of the competition. But nonetheless, still got to keep ourselves nice and tidy. We don't want to give NRG any sorts of chances on net. We don't want to give them any sort of confidence that they seem to be lacking right now.
Oh, absolutely. It is going to be LJ to show off some of that confidence. Beast mode, wanting that redirect for himself, but Daniel can't top off that opportunity either. NRG tries they might. They really have not had much out of these 4.25 minutes so far of gameplay. It felt like those first 30 seconds, we saw them with a bit of life, and the Ultimates just decided, hey, we're FK, Chronic and LJ. We're not going to let any team do this to us. Daniel looking to try and sneak something out of these last 30 seconds. But I think at this point, Psycho, we would just call it consolation.
Yeah, it's sympathy points at the moment, isn't it? This little bit of possession. We're teasing them. We're saying, hello, you fancy a trip down forwards to the blue half? Yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't have much to give. 10 seconds left for victory laps for the Ultimates. And reshaped as a roster we are. Those first 2 games, well, first 3, might I say, didn't paint the greatest of pictures. As soon as we got towards the business end of the series, we came alive.
Absolutely, and I think what's also important about that last game is we kept the sheets clean. Okay, we didn't concede a single goal to NRG Esports. That is a tough task in of itself, but with 5 goals as well to have in favour against them, has any other team done this so late in the bracket against NRG and forced them to 5 after, we mustn't forget, they had a confident game 3. They looked really, really tough, but Ultimates, more gears than a 16-wheeler. They brought it up 3 in that last game, and at that point, can you count them out? Can you stop them? I think the Ultimates are going into this game 5 as the favourites after that performance. The favourites, I tell you, Psycho, and everyone here in chat.
The favourites. You didn't hear it here first, you've heard it plenty of times before, but this time we're going to get it done. NRG, our biggest rivals in the RLCS competition as of late. Going back to Open Cup number 2 when we dropped to them, faltered, I believe it was, in that lower quarters. Step forward to recent affairs in Open Cup 2. A little bit further towards the grand finals was when we lost against NRG that time around. This time, we're here to get it done. And First Killer's going to take early possession. An infield option in LJ, waiting for that boost to elapse. Atomic's going to get there quickly, though. And Chronic needs to buy some time for his teams to get into a strong position here. First Killer, though, hounding for those bumps. Really wants to create something.
And you don't have that 5-goal cushion anymore. 0-0, 5 minutes left on the clock. Fresh minds here coming out into this 5th game. And I'm sure NRG will have that same mindset as well. They're being sent corner to corner in these opening stages. Daniel will get a shot off. Great save here coming from Chronic, but most importantly, LJ on the follow-up. First Killer waiting right below. And it feels like NRG been contesting their own game of their transitions. They're showing off some signs of their own. First Killer back into the corner here to find a teammate. And well, the chemistry is flowing for the Ultimate.
And a nice bit of patience on this play as well. LJ picking his time to commit correctly so. And there was the support behind. A dangerous back pass played from Beast Mode to continue that possession game. And Atomic is allowed to flow with a bit of creative freedom himself. Strong play across the board at the moment as again we find a teammate to escape in First Killer. Flick central. Nobody's going to get there in the colour of blue, but Atomic throws the ball downfield. Beast Mode waiting, drops it down to Atomic towards the net, and that's maybe 3 opportunities they've had in just over a minute of play. Make it 4, and the Ultimates getting stretched thin.
And well, it's a big start here from NRG. They had plenty of experience here in the woodworks, and you just thought that a little bit more proficiency in front of net and they would grab that lead for themselves in the 5th game here. But the Ultimates, plenty of time to strike back, looking as confident as ever. You cannot count them out. I still stand off that same opinion. Do I believe, Psycho? Absolutely.
It's without question at this point. And LJ has picked out his man in First Killer on the left. Daniel to sit back, take his time, allow that pressure to flood on forwards, and the barriers have been truly opened to let the storm come flooding in. But LJ's there on the left-hand side to escape yet again. Maybe another touch for a dunk in field. First Killer to drop it down in front of Beast Mode. A little too much pace on the faked-out shot, and unfortunately, it's one that's been saved.
First Killer high onto this one. Will try to dribble this one past Beast Mode. Chronic though, they've shut things down here at that midfield line. The Ultimates just looking for that space through. NRG will not give it away for free here. In the corner, Atomic seeing that boost. That's going to be an important factor in this offense. Just going to weaken those lines a little bit. And now you see First Killer having to resort for a 50-50 instead. Beast Mode looking to fight Atomic. And he can try and clip the wings of these superstars on the Ultimates. But eventually, they will grow back. They will throw something else at you. And in this offense, NRG need to stay focused if they want to maintain this lead. This isn't going to be like a game 3 like we saw before. The Ultimates are looking different. They can fight back from behind against NRG. And they will show that in these last 2 minutes, of course. Defensive efforts are required too. And Atomic doesn't take it away. That could be a huge mistake if this game continues as it has done so far.
Ropey is the only way I can describe it at the moment from both ends. We saw the ultimates almost collapse, and we saw NRG get away with it. And they've gotten away with it again. So close to the back of the net. As we're now swarming from corner to corner. Daniel with 0 boost to play out from. And LJ has given the ball away. First killer's there to pass it back across. With a lot of pace into the play as well. Daniel sat all the way deep by his 6-yard box. Very, very happy to pick up the possession from there.
And are your heartbeats thumping? Imagine how these players feel having to keep their cool for these final 60 seconds, knowing that they will have their toughest opponents of this Open within this next minute. Daniel just looking to keep this one forward. Beast mode with something special off the sidewall. The first killer able to match it in this defense. 20 seconds already gone of that final minute. The ultimate needs something now inside his Chronic. That one just whittles away the first killer. Not giving up on this offense yet. Chronic will cut rotation. LJ is lurking. First killer for the wraparound, and it's a low boost NRG, but somehow they have survived, but they're not out the woods yet.
LJ, almost a double touchdown off the ceiling. An FK-esque shot as that ball's pummeled downfield. There is a player up to defend away. LJ drops it down, tries to continue possession, but it's given away to the hands of Beast Mode as Chronic for one final chance from the left-hand wall. 0 boost in the tank, drops it across. LJ over to the corner. And now first killer to drop it back. It's so little. So late. And unfortunately for the Ultimates, it's not quite enough. We showed so much tenacity across that series, but ultimately the NRG roster rather are the top dogs in many's minds in the North American side of things, and that goes on to show why.
But listen, a lot of people are going to look at this here via virtue of the bracket and say that the reward here is qualification into that upper final. It's guarantee yourself upper quarterfinals as well in that hybrid stages. When it's NRG versus the Ultimate, that's not the award anymore. The award is the statement you are able to provide within that best of 5. And the Ultimates left one by going all the way to that final game, having such a dominant game 4, and having these tight games where you feel like, you know, maybe at a different time, they will be able to take down this NRG side. This is not a one-team region. And that series proved that. And if we do see the rematch in the grand finals, like we saw before, sometime late in the bracket, whenever that is, NRG have been left a statement here that they better be at their top performance. Otherwise, they will fall. There will be a mutiny in North America.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Pig, there is, of course, further in the competition to fight for. Of course, the playoffs coming up this weekend. We may have an opportunity, and I think we're likely to have an opportunity to have a rematch against them then as well. But we do have Danny Boy behind the scenes, who's been, I'm sure, watching along with gritted teeth. It's been a close affair in that series, Danny, but what did you make of it?
It was a series that at one point here, to be brutally honest, I thought the Ultimates had no hope. And that's a horrible thing to say here, and it requires a lot of resilience, and that's what the Ultimates do have, not just behind the mechanics, not just in terms of the mechanical skill, but as Pegasus was leading the chat and believe that's what you've got to do, and you do get to get behind the team. But I will say, however, though, I wasn't watching that closely. I was keeping an eye on the potential possibility of whether it was going to be Tech or Rebellion, and I must say that's in a 2-2 series cycle, and do you know what? This one is also just an equal as much as a nervous affair too.
Yeah, and I did have the pleasure of being able to watch Tech play recently as well, and they really did surprise me with what they can offer. Of course, the young start in Talk, I believe, is on everyone's mind when it comes to that roster. Evo and Com, potentially established players, you may say. Com, of course, being a player who can just go on and win. He has that history about him, especially with the likes of version 1. Rebellion, on the other hand, it's been a roster which has been solid across time, and, well, I think that's all I can say for them.
They're just a little bit of a wild card. It feels like that every single time you see SR play. Of course, they did have to play in, I believe it was the tiebreakers at the end of last season, where, you know, they're always just coursing around that ability to be able to qualify for these majors. But I feel like a lot of people will be saying they do throw the odd open. And that is just what makes a difference. They throw the odd series just completely out of nowhere. But then when they are at their best, they are truly a team that can compete and cause a lot of issues here for even some of the upper echelon teams. It's just that consistency that makes the difference between what are the top sides and teams like Rebellion that, there's always the but when you're talking about them. They can be great. They can contest for, major contentions, but they don't have that consistency. But they have these odd performances where they just look completely out of whack. But they could still theoretically lose to any single team they face.
Yeah, it's awfully confusing, but at the end of the day, the Ultimates are going to be looking into this matchup and thinking we really can take it to either of these two teams, not just in a series win, but potentially in the likes of a sweep. It's only against teams such as NRG that we really do show signs of being defeatable. Tech have put in a second, talk with a almost double touch off the ceiling, spooked the defenders a bit, and they've poked home a freebie there.
I wouldn't call that a freebie.
What would you call it?
The words I would like to use when we sit on our broadcast, but let's just say very difficult in terms of the shot itself here. But when we do to go off Seiko's point there in terms of it is NRG, that is a side that you just have to come to the terms with. We are likely to lose against them. There is no shame in saying that, as the third one is likely to be put on in there too. It's not a bad sentence to say. Get used to the fact of it, but look forward to the challenge of it, because you want to beat the best and then become outright the number one here. Pegasus said in the commentary in game 4 going into 5 here, this is just not a two team region, or at one point people thought it was one. There is the Ultimates here challenging. It's just a case, can we do that in the hybrid stage and win in the grand final? That's the big question now.
Absolutely, and pushing forward towards that stage of the competition. The Ultimates, of course, looking on for their next challenge. Tech, at the moment, I have to say, look to be incredibly solid. We've barely seen any presence of Shopify Rebellion in that opposite half so far, and they're finally having a stint of the attack of their own. 3 defenders cemented at the back, though, for Tech, so really, really comfortable play at the moment for these 3, and it's come leaps and bounds since maybe Open Cup number 1, and Tech, in terms of the scenario at which they would be very unlikely to try and make a major, I think they still can.
Which team is that specifically, do you say?
For Tech, I think they're currently sitting 16th on points with a grand total of 2 points.
I can actually have a look for you here. Yes, they actually can make it a clinch major, however, only with a regional win and, complexity finishing 13 to 16 as one of the potential terms they would require. They could also actually settle for Space Station getting top 6 or worse, Deleted Gaming coming 3rd to 4th or worse, Shopify Rebellion going 3rd to 4th or worse, which are realistic, but I'm not sure if the regional win is. Even if they make 2nd, they are eliminated. So you never know. I mean, GK were able to steal themselves a major spot, but even that job was a little bit easier, and that already would be considered a miracle.
CJ looks distraught. You've got to feel for the guy. Head in hands. He doesn't know what to make of that one. Yeah. No sympathy from us. We're happy either way.
I mean, there are opponents either way. I mean, you've got to look at it like that. That Danny's got the right mindset here. The winner of this series is going to have to face the disappointment of getting knocked out by the Ultimates in the lower semi-finals, and I can say that with full confidence right now. I'm going to throw it over for you two guys when that does come. I'm going to make my prediction early. But Danny specifically, what are you expecting from this Tech side coming out? Of course, we didn't get to see them in that second Open. We did play them in the Swiss stage, however, of the third. And I do have a little bit about them.
I'm surprised here, as Pegasus and I have been sitting in many rooms setting up different teams for a local green or grassroots level in EU, and I was waiting for the word "or" just to be mentioned there by you. I was waiting for it. But
I've been banned from using that word on broadcast by you, actually, is the real reason. Dropped
No,
it,
I
yeah?
haven't. I haven't banned it. It's just I'm going to say something else in response to it. There is that sense when you do have a side like Tech come through, you have that sort of going, when are they going to break through? It's not if, it's when. And you don't want to be a top side when that does happen, because you just feel like part of the old guard here. I mean, we could look at, not to say Reynolds is, one of those old guards, but when he was in that sort of SSG roster back in its day, when Daniel was coming on through, you sort of looked at those type of players and sort of going, the baton's about to be passed on here. First killer, Chronic, LJ, when will the baton be passed on? You just don't want to be against a side like Tech here. That's the way I look at it, Pegasus.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair there. There's been, a few moments here in NA where we've been waiting for certain batons to be passed across. We thought we saw it from SSG in that first Open where they were able to get themselves into the grand finals. Of course, what happened in Open 2 happened in Open 2, and we're just still waiting for that bit of consistency to come from the youngsters. I tell you what, I think it's going to take quite some time to dethrone the likes of the players on the Ultimate, the likes of the players on current NRG as well, but certainly looking to make their names at least kind of marches, with the odd few performances coming through as well, like we saw in that first Open from SSG side.
Yeah, and moving forwards to this next matchup, it is confirmed, of course, ourself versus the boys who have just gone on to win that previous series in Tech, currently setting 16th on points. Myself and Danny will be bringing you all of that action. We're going to get the game set up, and we will see you very, very shortly.
Time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to.
Welcome back to the Ultimates TV for the game number 3. We have just played NRG and unfortunately faltered in a game 5. So long have they been the thorn in our side, and moving forwards, we look to progress forward to that playoffs. There is simply no alternatives, but we're going to have to do it through that lower semi-finals. It's Tech who's managed to squeeze through past Shopify Rebellion in 5, and I think they were the favourites going into that matchup. I know you had a brief look, Danny. What did you make of it?
It was a strange one in terms of it, because you want to have like an emotional connection to some players, and yet sort of diss yourself as well too, because you're sort of going, you have to be neutral. But when you looked at the players itself, there was hiccups looking at the likes of that sort of lower bracket sort of sets of teams here. The Ultimate should be looking at this sort of situation. There's nobody good enough to beat us if we're playing well enough. That has been the case. I mean, NRG in a game 5, no matter what, is good. It's just, can Gas do that? Can Strictly Business do it? Can Tech do that now? The answer is no, and definitely not.
Well, I think one of the biggest surprises, of course, for me, is 9 Lives getting knocked out in that lower side of things. 2 Strictly Business, a team that we went on to sweep in the first game of the day. Utterly bonkers as far as I'm concerned. But Com, Evo and Talk is the trio that we're going to be getting ourselves involved with. Pig, do you think they're going to provide any sort of resilience against us?
I mean, they're tried and tested against us, of course. They were our last match in the Swiss stage, of which we were able to grab ourselves a sweep, but there were definitely some moments of struggle in those games there. Still a menace like ever, hunting for those demos, constantly behind enemy lines there, just trying to pick off some players. And Evo has adapted that strategy as well alongside Com, so it's a very demo-heavy team. You have to be looking behind your shoulder, and you have to be ready. And whilst you're looking out for these players, you've got Talk as well, who's looking to burst onto the scene. Very promising individual. But here's the thing, right? You've got 2 players like Com, like Evo. Com looking to get himself back into contention. Evo, of course, constantly just been floating around. You feel like he does have that potential to push into that higher level. And Talk as well, who this is his breakthrough. Or you can just have an established 3 that you know what you're going to get here on the side of the Ultimates. So for me, this is going to be another easy call towards the Ultimates, but there could definitely be some challenges on the way, but nothing to ever expect a shock knockout at this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, and I think for me, just glancing back, I think it was maybe game number 3 and game number 4 for the Ultimates against NRG. Of course, those were matches we went on to take. The biggest sign for me that we're on to good things was really just our confidence in front of the opposition's goalmouth. Going back to some of the games that we've gone on to lose in history, it really has been a case of hit and hope and play behind the ball, play behind the play, try not to get too stuck in terms of a spare man, and just keep it really, really tight, one at a time, and just rely on solo plays. That's not good enough against the top teams, and we were seeing against NRG that sort of creativity. We were often playing the ball back even as far as a third man to filter in for shooting chances, and so often did that give us opportunities that I really thought went to show the lengths we would go to create. So coming up against Tech, I don't think they're as strong as a roster when it comes to that defensive side of the coin. NRG are some of the best. If we have that aura of confidence, as you would say, Pigasus, about us, I don't think there's anything that's going to stop us.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there, and I'll have to say goodbye as well. The stage is all you two here, Psycho and Danny Boy. Have a wonderful series, and just before I leave, before the producer sends me off in a transition, I believe. Goodbye. Have a great series.
Well, myself and you in the booth again, Danny. It's been a while. I think it's been at least a week. Far too long for my likings.
Oh, it's sadly been 2 weeks, but nobody's really been keeping tracks yet since last time we were in this situation, funny enough, but that was a win too. But I do love how the Englishman there, SirPigasus, doing his Michael Richards impression there. We're talking about torque and ability and power, but unfortunately we don't have big mix here. But with that unfortunately being the case, Psycho, we do look at this sort of type of roster and go and wonder what is next, what's capable. I mean, Tech has all the questions and the answers that we could possibly throw at them. It's just, do they have the experience? It's Com that does. You said that he had the bit of experience or an established team. I would kindly disagree there on that one.
Maybe so. For me, I do think Com is the standout in terms of who can take lead for a roster. I think historically he's done that well. I will always go back to refer to version 1 and the success they had over that period of time. I know, Danny, you're going to be smirking because it's not as proud of a performance of a roster as many others across history, but nonetheless it still needs to be spoken about. And glancing over to the youngsters, to Evo and Talk, at one point Evo was sort of that new prodigy in the making that got overshadowed, I believe, by other talents, and I think rightfully so, to be completely honest with you. And Talk, the new kid on the block, and honestly proving why they are worthy of so much praise. Similar to you, Danny, I really do think it's going to be quite a simple affair for the Ultimates, as long as we keep a cool head. I don't know if you caught some of the games that we might have played in previous Swiss stages, namely Pineapple. There were a couple of lost games due to a little bit of overconfidence.
Who would have thought a Pineapple could be tricky?
Pineapples are spiky, they're scary, man. You drop one of those from a height, it's not good. And they were.
Are you speaking from experience now?
I'm not speaking from experience, but I do believe I've dropped one on my toe before.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why I recall that memory. I think it was like a. Did you ever have school cooking classes? Because I did. That was an unfortunate event.
I did, but I wasn't clumsy, from what I'm hearing.
Well, I'm hoping NRG aren't going to be clumsy. NRG? Well, I'm hoping NRG are clumsy. The Ultimates! We want them to keep a clean sheet. We don't want them dropping any easy goals. We've seen one or two, Danny. I don't want any more. My heart can't take it.
Well, I was about to say I've seen plenty of drop goals and drop performances, but sadly that was a Psycho existence, and I used to cast him back in the day under Wind and Rain and Portsmouth University. But we don't want to be here talking about those days, shall we? But, well, us too, maybe gabbling about yesteryear. LJ looking for a light year down the field here. That hasn't been the buzz either. First killer beaten, gone away. We did speak earlier about the defence needs to be better in the opening day with SirPigasus. It has got better. It was so against NRG. It needs to continue to be so.
And at the moment, LJ to take some proud steps into blue territory. His first killer with a glancing sidewall read towards net, comfortably saved away that time around from Com, but already confidence exudes this Ultimates roster, so we look forwards once again.
It's backwards, moving into the double. No continuation. Com going for the demo. He was famous for that back in his V1 days, but Tech does take the opening lead.
Yeah, and it's just as simple as that. One little bit of aggression from Com, and he's chased home that third man of Chronic to go into panic state. And you really can't blame him in that situation. He was left alone in a tricky position, and the offense was sharp to it.
I should took note of who actually wrote this on Twitter, or X now these days, with the demo in terms of back in its day compared to now. The likes of Com are in about 2 point, when the likes of these ones are hitting around just shy of 3 per game itself here. So we know that that's going to be an element of the game itself here. Is one more play to the backboard itself here. First kill does get a read, has been passed over Chronic to his opposite side and counter here. Should be a passing play. 3 has pushed up. First kill dropping back in time here. You don't want to drop 2 against a young side that's got a point to prove.
And there's 2 to work in combination in the midfield. LJ with a glancing touch to the side, but it's given away possession, and first killer's going to have to mop up that mess as Chronic is waiting on that right-hand side. Talk's going to have at least one more touch to the play. And Chronic with a comfortable touch towards the corner. LJ has been our star man so often today on the ball when he gets in those solo play situations, and I'm wanting to see some more of it. Another demo to come through, though, for Tech for a bit of continuation on the early misery.
If we were talking about misery, I thought Psycho was going to have that tonight when he offered me the commentary job here. It's going to be miserable for the next hour and a bit, I certainly said. Well, it might be, because Tech is that side. I did point out the demo, no more than 12 odd seconds. And there it was for goal number 2 here. That has to be an adjustment. Sad's probably taking a note somewhere off it. It's a question, can you adapt your game at this point in time? Well, we've got half a game to find the answer to that one.
Well, we saw us fighting from behind in the NRG series, and I do believe that the situation was even more dire than just a 2-goal lead. It was game deficits and on match point where we made that sort of retaliation. We made that stride to do better. And at the moment, First Killer is going to try and gain a little bit of control for his side. Drop the ball down. As that ball rattles across back in field to LJ. It's comfortable for Tech to keep this high press.
Chronic for the First Killer. Nice 1-2, continuing of course to the back wall. Fortunately no road work met this time as Com. He's got himself at least 2 young guns themselves behind him. One gone here, so the backboard will be the target zone to put the Ultimates under pressure, and First Killer's dangling, cannot get to it. And Chronic, you talk about his ball control, his positioning, his times his third man. It was stellar to get that one out of danger. Back over to the star himself. The Ultimates will chip away half the lead at the same time.
And sometimes all you need to see is one strong first touch from First Killer, and the rest is history. I already knew that ball was going to be struck on target before the touch came through. And it's such a simple goal for his standards, but by anyone else's, that is a ridiculous finish.
And Chronic wants to have another chance at that one again. Should have been 2-2. 70 odd seconds still left to find that wonder. The goal itself, it's purling for LJ. He drops back into the corner. Should be a particular movement here. Chronic once more. First Killer's lurking. Oh, if we got that connection, we could have saw something wonderful.
Demo again on the play. LJ trying to go forward all by himself as Com has a chance for a double touch against the corner. It's going to throw away possession, thankfully, towards First Killer with a risky 50 infield across his goal mouth. It's another beautiful bit of work, I must say, from Talk to get around those defenders. Here comes Chronic. Demoed off the play yet again, and another hoof. And I think for Tech at the moment is send the ball long, play a demo or two, and see what happens.
How's that?
More of the same, really.
I don't want more of the same.
What do you want, Danny?
At least another 3 goals.
For which side, Danny?
I thought that was obvious. Do you need the answer to that one?
We all know what we want, but it's whether we can achieve it. And as these seconds tick down, it looks more and more likely that we're just going to have to chalk it off and go next, similarly to the NRG series we succumbed to. But LJ is going to dribble this ball forwards. A double demo from Evo, and that's going to be potentially a 4th. Let's hurry up.
It's one of those games where you just want the game to finish. There is nothing left to fight for, so get on with the game 2 with this. The unfortunate bit off it here, but what is the good part of it is Tech has basically shown us all what they had to offer. That is the demo to get the second goal, the third one to split it up the field itself too. So Psycho, I mean, the Ultimates are a smart enough roster. They've got a lot of experience under the belt. It's not panic button just yet here.
Yeah, it's not panic mode, and in fact, if we can just keep a little second man, maybe nestled a slight step or two back from the play to support out the numbers at the back, try not to leave so many 1v1 situations or 1v2 situations courtesy of those bumps the direction of Tech, I believe we can be in a comfortable position. And it was smart play from Tech to recognise those opportunities, to stretch forwards for the counter, for the bumps nice and early, and I have to applaud them for it. But the Ultimates moving into this next game, they have to be aware of it. As you said, Sad Jr. in the back, obviously going to be making everything count!
You do not need to count. You just need to crunch.
What? I don't know what to say anymore, Danny.
You don't need to say anything. Just watch.
Oh my goodness! What? No, seriously, what is going on?
When you have a team that has been annoyed, that has been rattled, that has just simply been tolerating the play by the opposition, crunch, bang, we just need the wallop itself to force Tech to go completely on the back foot here.
Maybe another drop-down pass from First Killer, if not for that defence, but we're already 2 goals up. For some reason, we saw Tech play that reserve kick-off strategy in the Ultimates with a calamitous pinch and a double touch in mere seconds of the play. We asked for something to change, but sometimes all you need to do is outscore your opposition. Here comes Talk to try and do a bit of scoring himself. Down off the backboard, and Com steering that one on target as well, but 3 orange players at the back, comfortably so.
This one clear. That's an awkward one. That's not the Tech that looked like in game 1. Who's in with confidence? LJ himself. One ball would be ideal. First Killer just looking behind it. But what was better? Goal number 1, goal number 2, or goal number 3? It doesn't matter. It's still all good.
And Com had to respect First Killer as well. The touch wasn't even required. The job was done. The bump followed through. And Tech, all they've been able to do for the past 3 goals is sit and watch.
Let's watch.
They might need some popcorn as well at this rate.
I was thinking some marshmallows.
I'm glad to hear that we're along the same sort of thinking there, Danny.
Yeah, because, you know, there's a massive defensive fire they've got to put out. They may as well have some s'mores.
Well, they're looking for more than that. They're looking for a win against one of NA's greatest. As First Killer, that very player, pushes the ball across. Chronic towards net again. Tech scrambling for every semblance of a touch that they can muster. And the Ultimates may have gotten ahead of themselves there. Absolutely nobody in defence, and we've all gone to play the aggressive side of things there.
I'm wrong in terms of sort of trying to stomp the authority, but we do know about overextension can cause its problems there. But mind you, we saw 2 quick goals without really much of a response. That's another one as well too. Joe, somebody might want to give Scotland a wee phone and give Johnny Boy a ring. The kick-off game. That's the Ultimates.
That's the Ultimates. The ultimate show of class can come when you least expect it. And when there's the least amount of eyes on you. But the Ultimates, it's all eyes on them right now to shape this series into something that they well and truly take in their grasp. Of course, it's only, well, a 1-goal advantage for Tech at the moment. We want to try and push it towards equalisation and beyond that. And at First Killer's going to look for an ambitious 5th. A little sideball read across the corner and an infield drop down as well. Trying to get the creative juices flowing, Danny.
Oh, they certainly are. And could you blame them when they're in that type of mood? Chronic looking to just force it with a very basic and simple 50 here, but as much as we can talk about creativity, I'm going to be a tad bit boring. Cycle, I do apologise, but I like a little bit of defence too, so can we just keep the ball away for the next 2 minutes and so what, move on to game 3?
I think that'd be nice, but at the moment we just got to keep a numbers advantage at the back. That's always what I like to think when I watch the Ultimates play, because when we do tend to concede, it's just off the back of getting a little too ahead of ourselves, like I mentioned with that previous goal. Chronic's now left all alone. Easily could be 2 for Tech. And again, we have an isolated 3rd man. And again, we've been punished for it.
It's almost like you've been a coach in a previous life.
Can't believe they reincarnated me as a commentator.
Oh, it's a cruel world, Psycho.
Well, as cruel as it may be, I don't want it to get any crueler than 2 goals the direction of Tech. Thank you, Chronic.
Do you have a small remote control here and just dictating the ball here? Or are the players just your puppets at the moment, Psycho?
A magician never shares his tricks, Danny.
Well, you're not a magician.
What am I?
Who are you?
I don't know at this point. At the moment, I'm a fan. And at the moment, I like what I see. But there is still some caution in the air for me, I must say, Danny. And it's just courtesy of the 2 goals that we've conceded. It's going to be 6. It's gorgeous from First Killer. To be utterly honest with you, I thought he had no hope of that follow-up touch here. He's been bumped off the play by Tekken. He's still scraped that one home.
I'm actually a wee bit annoyed. More so by Tech. You sort of just want to attempt to scream as a meant to be a neutral. You know, somebody sit on the back post. Then I realised where I was sitting. You sort of going, do you know what? Go for it. You're not going to get him that one. You're not going to outpace for club. What are you even thinking?
Well, if we score 2 more goals, I'm going to be very happy, because I can say a chant that I've not had to in a very long time. I believe since the first Swiss stage of Open Cup number 2 was when we had an 8-2 scoreline. I would like to see it again. And as we try to step forwards, we do have a couple roadblocks provided by Tech. Evo down to the back corner. Lovely booming clearance, and LJ there to match as well. Tech obviously are going to be using this time to try and reinstate their own self-belief, because this game has just simply not gone the way they thought it would.
And you just have a sense here there's another goal coming, but we'll move across here, and thankfully, I don't say this very often, Tech has scored, so we don't have to hear Psycho trying to be, well, shall we say, funny with his old cliche phrases. You've got to move on, Psycho.
Fine. I can't think of anything for 6-3. If chat can, that would be wonderful. Do my job for me.
Are you just chipping every bit of the workout for you? The players are playing for you. Would somebody do the commentary for you? What's next?
I don't know, we'll have to find out, but there's still so much left in this tale for the Ultimates. That game 1, we saw Tech's trump cards pretty much straight off the bat. We saw the demo game, we saw the aggression on the counter, and we saw little open pockets of space exploited time and time again. Fast forward to 5 minutes of play thereon after 6-3 the scoreline for the Ultimates. Onwards and upwards from here.
That's what you'll certainly be hoping for as well. And just to briefly sort of cast a shadow in terms of the other match here, it's Strictly Business. Looks like the possible opponents as well. Gas actually did get 1 game back, but just spare thought here, you know, AJ, Garrett G and Squishy potentially could be the opposition here to the Ultimates. You know, 2 world champions, but do you know what? That could be a tasty affair if they do decide to show up here. But the Ultimates, you know, talk about going up here. There's not much room to go up from. That's not because that they've just been playing that well here. You're sort of going, they can't go any higher. It doesn't seem possible.
Oh. You know what? That's a stingy comment, Daddy. Myself and SirPigasus,
we've
been
apologize.
so thankful to see the Ultimates decimate our opponents over time. I think we've seen 8 goals at times. We've seen 9 goals at times. We've seen ridiculous scorecards. That one doesn't even compete. 6-3, that's like another day in the office for us.
Yeah, but I like 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know, for the sake of the narrative, it's quite nice. Could bend either which direction, and there's uncertainty here, there, and everywhere. But I just want to see First Killer score some more clips.
Trust the man that got the name and the shot after himself there, but First Killer, can he score more? Well, that's not in doubt here. There he is.
Gorgeous. A picture-perfect start written on a blank canvas for game number 3. Beautiful little bit of play to pick that space over in the backboard. And First Killer, he never misses.
Oh, that's a statement and a half. He never misses. Well, so far, but accurate in this game here. There he is. Should be, considering the pass. We'll pop it over 1. Second man will be at least forced to do something out of it. And First Killer, remember game 1. Got the demo. LJ remembers it. Frolic, I don't want to say anything, but I might as well. Go on. Have a demo too.
get stuck in. That's what we're chanting them to go and do, but we don't want them to do it too much because we don't want them to concede off the back of a last man being stranded at the back. But nonetheless, First Killer works his way forwards. An infield opportunity bound towards LJ, who's pulled out of the play, got a demo for his troubles, and that's another chase from Tech towards an open net, trying to test the fruits of their labour from game one.
Lovely pop, turning it to the side of it. And moves across on it, and Psycho, you don't mind me breaking the commentary for the news that we just saw in our green room there.
Go on.
The legend himself, Jane Ups, in the next stage of the competition. The former man that himself of runners up, major winners of course in his entire career. He fights another day and maybe go on to win it here. I don't think any of the Ultimates would be too disheartened to see a legend himself in his last hurrah, but congratulations to him, as the Ultimates is still toying with their food in the corner here.
And as we continue to toy with our food, we're looking to take one big chomp out of Tech's confidence. One goal is simply not enough. They know they can come back from that, and we need to keep them under the cosh. Here comes Chronic over to the backboard, and First Killer stays alive and awake at the back there. He's been hounded by demos. You couldn't see it off the screen, but there was two players in blue hunting him down, and Tech is still something to watch out for.
Certainly so, and what's even more surprising as well, SSG has partly swept NRG in the upper final.
What?
What's going on? That cannot be right, but apparently it is.
I'm just hoping that the Ultimates doesn't continue the spree of big upsets, because if it does, we're going to lose.
What you're saying is that the top teams are losing.
Shocking news, I know, Danny.
Well, luckily for you that I haven't seen the seeding yet.
Nobody
So
knows
we
what
could
tomorrow...
we could say that there's 6-team seed here, Seiko, and nobody be the wiser.
It's true. We do not know. And that is a gorgeous touch from LJ. Absolutely perfect to bait forwards that player as well. Lovely fake on the second man. One man left in Evo to do the heavy lifting, and has done so. A demo from Commies chasing downfield towards his next victim as well. There's another from Talk. Open space the way of Tech, but just look how much width there is to the Ultimates play at the moment. Every which way that Tech can find the ball off into, we're there to cover it.
So, and that should be a goal. It has been 2-0. Simple as it gets, really.
It's textbook, isn't it? First Killer to the backboard, back pass in field. The defense isn't going to do anything about that. They never are, because they can't. If you handed that on a platter to one of the best defenses in the world, it's one of those situations where you just have to wave it on by.
That's one description of it, and this one should be saved. Has been. Now maybe the attack or the transition could come through. The Ultimates down the middle of the park itself. They're calm, beaten by Chronic. Will get a fingertip to it. Doesn't matter though.
3 goals to the goods. No boost in the tank for LJ, but he's found the delivery. And the parcel has been left at the doorstep of Tech's goal line. 3-0. And onwards and upwards was the statement from the previous game. There's still plenty of time left to squeeze in a few more.
No, I'm happy. There's a big 0 on the blue side. I'm happy to blow the whistle. I'm happy.
There needs to be like a clean sheet award in this esport to try and incentivise teams not to throw too hard. Here comes First Killer. He's going to fake it off for Chronic. It's 4 goals now. And at the moment, we're taking the mickey. All 3 of those attackers could have potentially put that ball home. And this one just walked it in.
Are you saying the players in the comms there was no, sir, not a chance. Absolutely, you may be able to score today. Sort of type approach there.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say maybe to that. I have no idea.
Maybe.
I'm also curious to know what the accent was you were going for there, but I'll leave that conversation for another time. Here comes LJ down off the ceiling. Absolutely comfortably dealt with by Evo, but 25 seconds left is going to spell disaster for Tech. There is nothing they can add to the play at this point in time. It could be even more miserable from here. Infield pre-jump from Chronic. LJ waiting to filter through. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Well, Tech, like unfortunately my shoddy accent work, not able to find any type of defensive answers nor an offensive output. 2-1 match point to move on to the lower final, and potentially as well looking towards locking the Birmingham position, but of course that's required to get into tomorrow from roughly the way things work, and I haven't been sitting here ticking the sheet off at the possibility. But Psycho, the most important thing is they get the win here, in Tech, you know, they did have the demo game. They don't have much after that, and they've been somewhat found out here.
Yeah, it's been well and truly a case of the Ultimates ignoring all of those issues present on defense and just hurrying up, doing what they do best in terms of the creativity downfield. We saw time and time again those connections really strike true. The infield balls, the downfield plays, the counter-attacks, it was all there for us. As you say, Danny, I think if we can just hold that back line nice and firm when we do establish a lead potentially, maybe 2 goals, maybe 3, I'm hoping for a little more. If we can keep zeros on the opposition for an extended period of time, that's what eats away at you as a team. That's what's really a deciding factor as to how you approach the play. And hopefully for us, we can keep that clean sheet going a little longer.
Well, hopefully that is the case here, but I'm just seeing everybody leave the lobby. And they missed it, by the way.
Well, they did score, actually.
I don't care, they missed an empty net. I know chat can't see it, but I know...
Chat's so confused right now, they have no idea what's going on. We're ready to get stuck in, and here are the players leaving the lobby because of technical difficulties. Oh, unbelievable.
And they're still continuing to score.
It's 2-0, it's the first killer. Thank you, Hazza, for putting on the stellar gameplay in the background as well, by the way. I want to see at least one Psycho attempt in the next 4 minutes 50.
No, I think what should happen is that our fabulous producer here, Hazza, should draw what happened here through artistic impressions.
Yeah, you know what? I really wish I could join the chat in saying easy win. I wish I was that optimistic. I don't think I can go forwards with that approach. I'm supposed to be professional in the commentary box, and I can tell that this game isn't quite what it's meant to be. Goodbye.
Oh! Can we zoom into the ball? Oh.
Oh, that's my face, Hazza. He took your comment far too literally. He went for the other big shiny thing.
Well, it's currently being blocked at the moment.
Oh, dear. Well, hopefully we can get into the 4th game of the series nice and quickly, Danny. Yeah.
I'm somewhat confused here because I'm pretty sure, and I might be corrected here by an official referee. I thought that would be play on there unless one of the players before the goal being scored. So that's why I'm a tad bit confused here in terms of what's actually going on here. But we will have confirmation on what is happening quite shortly. But how's the weather, Psycho?
Currently, oh, well, you see, usually it would go to display the weather down on the bottom of my window.
It's not like you've got a window to the left of you.
It's decided not to do it this time around, so I can't actually see. It's given me Premier League results. Who needs them?
Well, I know a particular Manchester club in red won earlier the week, I think. Doesn't happen very often.
Weather. Yeah. 4 degrees, there we go. 4 degrees, mostly cloudy. Yeah.
I'm so glad we had this on the coverage here tonight here of the Ultimates, because it was 2-1, as you can see at the bottom of the screens here. It's not much. We are confused in terms of what is going on here, because that is the situation here. I did say to Pegasus, I want to see something a bit unusual tonight. I didn't want, back like 2015, 2017 days where people just left the lobby while we're trying to find out what's going on. Danny, but yes.
Danny, I really don't want to do this, but don't you find it ironic how underneath us that little scorecard for the team that left has a big logo that just says Tech in big capital letters?
Yeah, I just hope if Haz is there, can we not have just tech difficulties?
just a small difficulties underneath. That'd be perfect. Make sure it's in Comic Sans. We want it to be user friendly as well. That'd be nice.
Can we not just have Arial? Size 12? There we have it.
That's an option. Oh, hello. We're back
That
in the
was
game.
fast.
That really was fast. I hope it's not the official match. There seems to be only 2 Ultimates players on the field.
Well, Tech also didn't have 1 goal up here, so there's a referee in the lobby. Things are being sorted. We will have the game shortly on our screens to bring you the action. But there's always something that happens here, Psycho. It's never just a simple play of the game. There is that always small hiccup that throws around here. But Psycho, the performance here by the Ultimates, if we get a wee bit more serious, I suppose, here as the game's about to start, was much better. We did see the passing play, we did see the defence being there. You did have her point out that the Ultimates is third man in terms of being a little bit loose at times. It has been at fault, but not to the point here where games is being lost.
Well, maybe going earlier on in the day in terms of the games, maybe against NRG, perhaps you could reference some of those moments, and also the first loss we did suffer to Tech in this one as well. So there are still warning signs for me, but ultimately, if we can push past that and keep that level of tenacity, that aggression, that creativity downfield, all of those words we've said millions and times again, in terms of the response that the Ultimates can offer, I want to see it again. Chronic is going to hoof a ball downfield, and also something we do very well with is an early lead, Danny.
Well, certainly so, and while the game does get underway here, huge, massive thanks, of course, to the RLCS referees, doing a fantastic job as always. They don't get a lot of love, but make sure to let them know here, because the efforts that they do put through sometimes goes unnoticed. That's how good they are at their jobs here. But the Ultimates, they've shown how good they can be, with scorelines that have been mind-boggling at times. But we'll be able to, from this own final third here, to get things underway on the attack here. Chronic still on the wall here. It's the length of time here that the Ultimates think they have to how much they actually have is a bit, shall we say, concerning on the restart here.
Maybe so, but it's a nice counter-attack with first killer position downfield to continue the play as that ball heads towards the corner. And a very neat little block from Talk, I must say, as first killer. He's going to try and bait out that final defender, albeit with nothing in the tank. He's done so. Found a bump on Chronic, or Com rather, as LJ for a double. LJ for a double. Does he ever falter in those situations? No, he doesn't.
No. But Tech's defensive rotations certainly do there. Maybe Tech difficulties might want to be snuck on to the bottom of their name here. That seems to be the continuation here. Nearly a fault from the kickoff goal. Back into the middle here. First kill will get the touch. LJ's nearby, but will be the offensive play here. 1-2 crossbar. And we've got away with that.
Scary stuff, but look downfield. It's first killer again to the backboard. Crom to try and take this ball over to the left-hand side with a pinch, and does so towards Evo. Lovely bit of mechanics. He's going to find a bump as well, surely, but Chronic's beaten one. It's 1v1 for first killer. Great bit of defending. It's in those circumstances where you just have to speed things up a bit, and Tech responded well there.
LJ, one touch. First killer's cut the rotation here, but it has worked out here. No boost though. Will be the Ultimates recoiling back in the defence here. Could be a dangerous play. However, the passing by the Tech roster themselves here has been lacking on the quality. First killer has options in the middle. One bump would be superb, but not getting Com off the position where he was.
Beautiful little bit of control from Chronic. Surely there's going to be a soft touch from first killer, but he's hoofed it and he's lobbed it back down towards Chronic. He sees what many others will never be able to. And Talk has to bail out his roster, just sitting and waiting and wishing for possession from the back lines. Tech are not going to be afforded an easy escape without the numbers downfield, and so this presence keeps on flooding through. First killer with a mistouch to the infield and waves goodbye to that attack.
Chronic goes on back walls. First kill's there. Been removed off them. The Ultimates know they've got the lead and the match wrapped up if they can just play the clock to their advantage for the second goal. Why nobody challenged that one is mind-boggling, to be polite about it.
Well, quite simply, Tech did not see it coming. Evo, stranded at the back with nothing to his name, was in dire need of support. And his team, a few steps behind. Now for the Ultimates. They've got that lead established well and truly now. We've got the ability to hold on, play it a little bit safer, keep the zeros on the board to the left-hand side of the screen. Or at least that's what we hope for, Danny.
I'm going to have to disagree with you too. It's not safe, not in a game like this.
Well, hopefully we can make it 3. Big boom downfield from LJ. We've seen him take to the scorecards not once, not twice, but 3 times when it matters the absolute most.
Now you can feel that little bit safer. Now you can somewhat breathe, because you know that you have that cushion without worrying about blinking the second time there. Back down it goes, and Tech, they've got to send everything. That means space is going to open wide up here, and Chronic is just munching the defenders left, right and centre. They're not getting even a chance on the ball here. Fired on target. Chronic was their first killer likewise. Should be an easy save here, and it has been pushed to the midfield line. As a result of that, we should see Ultimates coming forward.
Oh! That pass is ridiculous. I have no idea how he's put so much power in field and how First Killer's managed to beat all of those defenders there. Please do, Danny. I'd love to learn.
Quite easy. I'm pretty sure Sad also could teach you as well too.
Well, I don't think he's going to be paying attention to a measly caster. He's got the Ultimates to deal with. NA's finest. And the talent keeps on elevating. First Killer's going to steal a goal, and Chronic's going to steal a steal. And at the moment, the Ultimates are just thieving from their own pride at the moment.
I'm not happy. I'm sorry, but you know, can LJ be a proper golf team and pop that up?
Yeah, I think there needed to be a bit more combined efforts. There we go, double fake.
Yeah.
Did you catch the goal from, I think it was the Swiss stage from this Open Cup? There was a pre-jumping player on the left, and on the right a pass delivered from a double fake kickoff, and it returns to the freestyle days.
Of course you would bring the freestyling days back up. Do you want me to bring up Mike Rules? Fantastic player.
Known for his mechanical brilliance, I'm sure.
And his vocal dexterity as well too, that not many people got to find out. Joe, I wish Michael was still around, but unfortunately he's not. But your freestyling days, they're sadly not here as well too. Shall we talk about something else here, because this game's done.
It's done. And that only means one thing for the trajectory of the Ultimates, who we've long wished could push through this series quickly. And after game 1, there was a little bit of trouble spelt from Tech, but ultimately we've gone and taken it to them once again. A victory for the Ultimates to put us towards that lower final situation. I don't believe we have anything solidified. In fact, we do. We're against Strictly Business once again as a team in the lower bracket. And I certainly wasn't expecting that, Danny.
Well, I did. I was watching it while we were casting this match, so I already knew that.
Hold on, so you were juggling the commentary and you were trying to get context for the next matchup?
I've had about four different screens on at the moment, so I knew what's going on, like JNG versus KC. That's 4-4 right now, 2 in game 1.
Wow, you might as well be a professional at this, Danny.
I'm retired, leave me be. I've given this up.
It is a pleasure to have you, Danny. It is an absolute joy, of course. For everyone watching at home, Danny Boy ATM has been casting in community grassroots areas of this esport and at the very highest echelons towards Tier 2 and Tier 1 of the RLCS as well for many, many years. Thank you very much for joining us. But we do have a pig in the background as well. So
sorry, I thought it passed away there. That was the eulogy that was getting read.
Pig, what do you make of that series?
Well, first of all, glad to see that Danny is still up and kicking. Your little spiel there would have potentially said otherwise, but overall, for that last series, I mean, of course, dropping that first game and then from there on out, it was pretty smooth sailing. Exactly what you would come to expect here from the Ultimates. We are, a little bit late to the party, let's just say, for the lower bracket final after some of those technical difficulties, but having Strictly Business back to face us in that lower final, first of all, I feel that's fascinating that is something that can even happen in the bracket, to be completely honest with you. When it was Swiss at the top 16 to 9 stages, that was never anything that could happen. So, I mean, we're clearly looking like the favourites heading into that series after only sweeping them a few hours before. But you never know. They've had a bit of a warm-up. They did get... they did have to play Gas in that last round, and they swept 9 lives. It was supposed to be a top 4 major contending roster heading into this, so who knows? NA's been ridiculous today.
It's been utterly absurd, and there is more twists to the tale as well. There are still some ongoing matchups as well. Space Station, of course, taking NRG in a sweep was kind of the headline news that we very much glossed over. I know, Danny, you spoke on it briefly whilst we were in the commentary booth ourselves, but Space Station in the upper finals, in terms of their qualification, is ludicrous as far as they're concerned. They're going to be well chuffed with themselves. But Gen G, Mobile One Racing and Kansas City Pioneers is another game still to complete. And in terms of a favourite, I think many people would side with Gen G on this one, but KCP, they've really shown their true colours lately.
I couldn't care what you just sat there and said. I was too busy watching Spaceman and Corelli in their really well-tailored suits. I'm sort of going, you know what? Fair play to you, lads. I thought it was impressive. I mean, come on. When you're looking good in a suit, you have to, tip your hat off. But if Macfish was here, we know Mac quite well here. The top buttons of the blazer's meant to be not, together when you're standing up. Or sorry, when you are, so somebody's doing it wrong.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I rate it highly what I saw over there on their caster screen, but of course, no sight for sore eyes over here either. I would back us 3 as well with the good looking casters. I will. For the numbers for Gen G as well.
No. What glasses are you looking through? Maybe one with the luscious locks that maybe Garrett G certainly followed.
Thank you. But I do just want to turn this back a little bit more towards the between Gen G and KC Pioneers. I mean, Psycho, these two teams were... I think it's fair to say they haven't really performed to everyone's max expectations in this first split. So to see them both qualify for top 8 and have this series against each other, I think it's important, to be completely honest with you, and I will be interested in the results of this series and how they'll be able to compete. However, I do think we are going to actually have to move ourselves relatively quickly away here from the Dutch party, because our very own series is going to very quickly get underway. Let's have a little look at that bracket and who our opponents will be. We alluded to it before. It's of course going to be Strictly Business, and I believe it will be your caster duo of Danny Boy and Psycho as well. So start things off. Psycho, what's your analysis for this upcoming matchup?
I mean, Strictly Business, quite strictly speaking, we annihilated in that first series in the form of a sweep. But to be honest, 3-0 in terms of a series score can really tell a tale which isn't representative of the strength of your opposition, and I was still pleasantly surprised in some ways by the level that Strictly Business brought to the table, and obviously they've gone on to achieve more and more as time has gone on in that lower bracket semi-finals, beating the likes of 9 lives with a sweep, the likes of Gas 3-1 coming into this matchup. They're going to be a different team, and I hope for the Ultimates that we can maintain that level we offered in the previous series. Well, absolutely, moving across, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the booth once again, Pig. Myself and Danny are going to be taking over this one. I do believe we have a lobby of players set up, as you alluded to, and moving forwards. Danny, you had the pleasure of casting this one live yourself. Is there anything in terms of the Strictly Business game that has you worried? Is there anything that you might want to be looking out for in terms of their play?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing?
Well, Semis has no make rules. Sorry. He's not a champion in my eyes. Who are the other two?
Danny, the amount of times that you bring up mic rules on a team stream broadcast, not including mic rules, I can count on maybe 2 hands at this point.
Well, I'm not saying if it was the old Team Liquid days back in the what season X, it was mentioned at least once every game. But yeah, fair point here. But you're asking here, what can they do here? Frankly, there was nothing there that suggested that they were capable of outpacing, outshooting, anything sort of what your descriptor in front of it. It was not there. It's as simple as that. You want me to sit here and say there is a chance for them? Do you want me to say it? Because I won't. Because I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, the thing is, in my little mind, I like to try and whir up all the possibilities. I like to analyse the play and think, what is it that we need to be looking out for? And I think that's partially the coaching background to myself. But moving forwards into this game, the Ultimates already are going to have a game plan. In fact, they probably don't even need a game plan approaching this one. Series 1 was quite telling of what I think Strictly Business had to offer. They don't have too many layers of complexity to them, but they do come forwards with a fresh approach. Of course, being 3 European players, I think makes a massive difference, because the approach of these European teams is so remarkably different to the vast majority of those in North America, I must say. If you do have a quick look at some of Team Evo's gameplay, for example, you'll notice all the quirks and features of their tendencies as well. But as you say, Danny, I don't think there's anything to worry about for this one.
Yeah, if there was a caster and a coach who wrote on Twitter they were doing a replay analysis of Team Evo, it would have been really useful.
One day we'll find one. You know what? I think Pig should give it a go, don't you think?
Oh, anyway, we let Pig cast this series and we just put our feet up. Pure solo cast.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Now, as the players are getting themselves underway, I want to see a solid 7 goals in one of these games for the Ultimates. That's what's going to give me the sort of loud and proud sort of atmosphere that I'm looking for. I'm looking for First Killer to maybe score a couple, I want to say a ceiling redirects reminiscent of a lot from back in the day. That would be nice as well. Any other things you'd like to see, Danny?
I want to see a Psycho. Sorry, you're just not good enough anymore.
This is perhaps the saddest sentence ever said on a team stream.
Oh, well, I could think worse. I was with Boy Arroyo for 2.5 years.
Well...
Yeah, I think the most saddest sentence was, I'm in a Mayo costume.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of the match, we don't seem to have players ready and raring to go as we might have expected. I do believe Start GG, the platform of which is giving us all of our live results, has said, you know what, we've got a game. Nice stick up and fast, and unfortunately it hasn't materialised as quickly as we would like. Usually they come about in the span of minutes, let alone 5 or 10, and at the moment we might be looking towards a watch party in terms of any ongoing games. I'm not sure if there is many still to play though. Glancing across to Group A, I know Pioneer and Gen G are still going to be hotting in terms of their contention. It's 2-0 the direction of Gen G down, Danny, so yeah, that's how that's going down.
Yeah, and it's one directional as well. It is the sort of the nothing match, and that's no disrespect here. They know where they are going to be position wise in terms of how the bracket's going to end up here. It's just more the case of who you're going to face against. So there's no stress really on the players. It's just, can you grab the win here and get yourself the best advantage possible as the games goes on here, as the goal does eventually go in KC. They have been, I wouldn't say outmatched here, but outscored nonetheless here. But I think all of us here is hoping for JNaps to do as well as he possibly can. But as much as we can talk about the game on our screens here, I do see players rejoining a lobby though here. So we are probably about a minute away here, Psycho.
Well, we've said that once before, so I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but...
Yeah, but this time I've said it.
This time you said it with your magic words, so it will materialise, won't it, Danny?
Well, we all know the players don't want to upset me.
No, not at all. They never want to get on your bad side, but as we continue to look across to this game at the moment, JNaps, of course, his final match potentially of his competitive career, so he wants to get it done in style, pushing forwards to that playoffs if he can make it in that position. obviously that's going to be doing him a world of good in terms of an outro to what has been one of the greatest of all time in many's eyes, including myself. I always used him as a reference point when I used to be coaching players and the likes of that, going back many a year. And it honestly helped shape the game in terms of solidity over in the North American side of things. Yes, Danny.
I know you've already had doom and gloom here and had me sort of my eulogy read at this point here, but this is only a seeding match here, so he's not out no matter what the result is.
Hold on, is this the...
have you misread the bracket?
Oh my goodness, it's the lower bracket finals.
Surely you might need the glasses there.
I need some severe glasses, don't I?
Just you might need a bit of help there. Our Falbus producer has put it back up. I don't know if he can draw like a massive circle, like most coaches with epic pen, but that bottom right match, just in case you've never cast it before, but in the competitive scene of the RLCS, that does mean they are in tomorrow.
Dude, the timing has it. I know you can hear me in the background. That was masterful. Honestly, I would take my hat off, but I don't think you want to see what's behind it, unfortunately. No peer pressure, please, chat.
I think if the viewers want it, they can be greatly disappointed because I don't want to see it either.
Yeah. Well, SirPigasus is already rubbing it in. He's already getting the chant going, and I'm not a fan of that. Come on. Let a man cast. I don't want other things on my mind.
From I believe to take it off here, from Strictly to, Love Island or whatever it is now these days. But, you know what? We can sit here and talk as much as we possibly want. We're hopefully seeing this particular match started at some point here. And, the players are there. It's just, I think the referee's just double checking everything at the moment. I don't blame him because we have already saw one delay already because of an issue. And I don't think they want to take any chances here.
Yeah, I do believe it's just waiting on the production from the counterparts of Strictly Business coming forwards into this match. And of course we want to make sure that everyone is ready and raring to go, not just the players but the production too. If it was the Ultimates TV that you were tuned into, of which you are at this given circumstance, you'd quite want the same situation for ourselves under those circumstances. Nonetheless, I do believe we're pretty much ready to go. Of course, the Ultimates, the massive favourites into this matchup. We took a sweep against them as the very first game that we played here today, Danny. And I know that yourself and SirPigasus were rightfully quite critical of the approach of the play to the Ultimates. But it's fair to say we're a different team at this point in the competition.
Oh, certainly so. The GSL stage has reached its lower final. Talk about qualification. The Ultimates would love to win it outright here. Strictly Business, as you said, was in opposition before, but this is a different side, and it's already one to the better.
And it's a 3-player passing play straight off of kickoff. Where have we seen that before from the Ultimates? Quite a few times, Danny.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, there was the beautiful freestyle pre-jump play. Going back to the Swiss stage, we had the pinch play from earlier in the series against NRG, I do believe, or Tech rather it was. I don't want to concede one though.
Well, certainly so. And when the Ultimates do concede one or two early on, it's not necessarily an ideal set of situations here, and that one's off the woodwork. A little bit of fortune, but there's Crispy, first kill, soft touch. That's what's ideal here. Behind here to allow the second man. You mentioned that point no more than 2 series ago, and Crispy can only send it long.
Now into the play, Crispy once again as Simas is waiting and hunting to get involved and very bravely step forward with 2 incoming orange defenders. Crispy, the Englishman himself, drops it over to Ixo. Simas biding his time over in that opposite corner. Here comes First Killer with a shot towards target, but simply dealt with there.
They'll continue in the play though, as Crispy looking to make the advancement down. That's a nice drop down, but First Killer will have options. The backboard will be the destination. It's just what follow-up can be conjured up. It tries to go low there. The Ultimates had 2 options. Not unfortunately a goal-scoring play though.
LJ Lovely little soft touch to continue his own solo play ventures. And First Killer is trying to bait forwards any player from Strictly Business, but as the Europeans like to do, comfortable to sit and wait, almost cost them with a mid-air connection there. As First Killer wraps it around, Chronic up high. It's going to be a beat for Crispy, and only one player back for us.
Infield pass. As the Europeans we know quite well, we have seen these three players develop their, shall we say, their bubble into their professional career across the pond here. So that shot slightly too wide. Still up the Ultimates with the ball originally until that pop over. And now we can see what the Ultimates can do on a transitional play.
Lovely shot towards net! And for some reason it's gone the distance. I thought it would be so simple for the defense to deal with, but Simas and Ixo, both on 0 boost at the back, strangled at the bitter death of that goal.
That one was a tad, shall we say, standard by the quality the First Killer can produce. Strictly Business has not shown up here. Yes, they may have pressured. Yes, they've got the demo, but they have not done anything other than that here. And Samas once more, Crispy shot on target, hits the woodwork once and twice. They finally got one in, but it took them a long time to find it.
Yeah, and LJ was sitting on that front post backboard alongside First Killer, and we just had a little too much cluttering towards that left-hand side. And I would have liked to see a little bit more of width about the defence there. There's First Killer now. He's going to try and make up for an amends with an early beat on Ixo. Has managed to do so, transferring across to LJ. Infield flip reset. He's got another one to his name. Surely he's going to walk it in. Blocked away by the defence at the very final hurdle.
And the demo actually helps the Ultimates positionally wise. Allows First Killer. They get a bit of boost. Decide to go for the big 100 itself. Drops back, allows the play itself, and he goes back in to get a defensive shift as well too. Not taking the game by chance, but wants to take it by storm.
Chronic. Lovely touch high. And LJ is going to have to do this all by himself, if not for a cut from First Killer. There it is. Dunk from Ixo, almost to equalise. Drop down in front of our own goal line, but limited boost in the tank for the Strictly Business side. They are approaching this game, though, with a lot of confidence, I must say. There's not too much antsiness about them, but sometimes that can be your undoing. The pace of the Ultimates, always a threat.
When you are playing the sort of the two-man shadow defending, you've got to make sure that second man can follow. Wasn't able to. Overconfidence is where I would put that personally. Others may disagree, and they're welcome to do so. As Chronic pass one, there is LJ. The second touch may allow the leverage to get the secondary play on, but the demo might just open up here. So Strictly Business, are they going to devil into the dark arts that Tech was doing earlier?
Maybe so, and they might need something like that to get themselves going again, because they look flat-footed pretty much everywhere on the field at the moment. There's a bit of pace injected from Ixo, a player who's long been sort of valued as that mechanical asset to any roster from going back in the day, before even the 2020 era. Certainly was one of those players to look at for those moments of brilliance, and yet to show it so far. Here he comes again with a backboard double touch attempt, does so. Simas allowed into the play, but a lovely block from the Ultimates.
You have to cast your minds back all the way to Lexus Z9, Magoo and Mercy, if you want to talk about those 3 days when the rival series was a thing. But I'll tell you what, First Killer was there too. He was in league play, and it was also called then RLCS.
4-1 is the score on the boards. We want to get more than that. I was saying quite cheekily that maybe we could go for 7 or 8. I wouldn't mind seeing a few more clippable moments as well for the social media team. I'm sure they're going to be cherishing that one, as First Killer infield makes no contact, and Simas is going to dive for one final hurrah for Strictly Business. An infield touch straight towards the hands of ourselves, and I don't want to say that this game has been handed to us in any way, shape or form. I think we've well and truly earned this one.
I don't want to use the cliche of the British phrase, a game of two halves, But that opening minute, you could sit there and say that Strictly Business had opportunities to put maybe 1, possibly 2 goals to put Ultimates under a fair amount of pressure to respond. They didn't. And that's the difference between good teams and, as you rightly said it, some of the greatest teams around. They know how to take those opportunities. The Ultimates, however, you can talk about comfortability off it, you talk about 8 goals as well. I'm going to be a stickler here. I don't like the fact they let 1 goal in. I want to see a goalless game here from the opposition.
And I wouldn't be too surprised if we go ahead and see that as well. And the Ultimates reflecting back on some of those moments of magic. We can see the likes of those magic kickoff plays once again. It's not just a bit of luck, it's a calculated effort from these teams at this level. And ultimately, it can be the undoing of your opposition. One simple bit of sort of strategic play can make such a difference in this esport. I do believe a lot of people associate it so much with the individual moments, the solo plays, and that's pretty much all that a lot of people will look towards. But obviously there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that every one of these scenarios can be dealt with the way we want it to go. We're back again with a fresh start, and Chronic's going to play for possession. First Killer with a back right kickoff, chooses to play that one slow. Maybe the wrong decision, but again, a nice example of what we can bring to the table.
So, a lot of time and patience as players do reviews. I'm not even going to give that the credence it didn't deserve. But when coaches spend the time to do the reviews, look at what the team has and has not done, what they are capable, it sometimes can show you brilliance. The Ultimates have that. Stad's been there from the very beginning, showing what he has brought to the table as First Killer. Just shows and reminds Strictly Business he hasn't gone away too.
Oh, miss on the play from our own defence, but Chronic has mopped it up once again. Here comes First Killer for a touch above, and LJ caught in no man's land, just about delivers that ball to the right hand side, and lots of space now. First Killer to play. Over to the corner, Simas knocks it up high, and Ixo is beaten out. Maybe a shooting chance down, over to the backboard. First Killer's there to follow through, and the First Killer always strikes blood first, it seems, and he's done it again.
And the defence had no way of defending that one. No vision on the striker, no vision on the ball. Simple, really. And the Ultimates is just enjoying the game themselves here. When you just know you're the better side, you know it far too well, Psycho, back in your days. When you are the side as favourites, you just want to win and can show har.
That's all you want to do is win. But unfortunately, we need to be patching a couple of holes. Crispy and Ixo have made a really nice infield connection there. And we simply did not give them the respect that they deserved. One apiece.
Speaking about peace, Pioneers and Gen G. Game 5. So a decider over there. The Ultimates, they're not close to finishing this series off, but a second goal wouldn't been too far of asking of what SLJ flip reset, pause again. First Killer just tips it away, and we talk about possession up the game. The Ultimates needs to find it quickly.
LJ with a good save. It was a reactionary one, and you don't want to see us in those circumstances. You want to try and shoo away that ball with some urgency. When presented that infield play, nice little musty from Simas, the star going back all the way to the days of fast forward. Made so much of a difference coming through as that rising prodigy. I believe the Lithuanian. As there's a double touch found from Ixo. Not going to threaten the defence though. First Killer, high touch. 100 boost grabbed on the left hand side. This is where he can be deadly. Almost found a dunk on the play, but Strictly Business played out well.
Or in those days, for North America viewers who may not have known, was like some rising stars over in Rocket Baguette. The French know how to build some great players of their own, but the EU at the moment struggling how to defend the simple, how can we call it, 50 into the middle. You know, it's an easy ball.
It was easy, and we have suffered an easy goal for Strictly Business as well. It was a double-double kickoff. You don't hear that often. And unfortunately, that may be the first time a kickoff has actually gone against our will, Danny.
Are you saying that we just don't have everything our own way.
It's harsh, isn't it?
I know, I don't like this.
Well, let's get a third. Chronic. Waiting for a step into the play. And Simas very uncomfortable there. LJ's played it to the backboard. Lovely bit of angling from First Killer, but no power found on that touch, unfortunately, as Chronic is now going to find a follow-through. First Killer once again in field. We're trying to make sure these plays can stick early on, but Chronic is going to have no chance of getting back from that. And the moment you see LJ take to the skies here, you know he's beaten.
I remember back in the day when it was, 2017, 2018. Some, at the time, up-and-coming talent stuck in the corner and couldn't get out, and it caused a lot of havoc and misery then. Who knows, what, 6-7 years, the similar play was the same outcome here. This one may be goal number 4. How that's not been converted, I do not know. That, however, does not matter here as Chronic has launched the ball downfield. Maybe the Ultimates can work something here, but it's too... The ball has no purpose at the moment. It needs to have a meaning behind these players.
Absolutely, and we're going to look to provide that vision now, resetting from our own back half. That's usually when those thoughts come alive, as Chronic has filtered that ball in field. LJ playing from behind, 1v1 situation. Beaten, but only drifts towards that back corner, and Ixo's got a free escape route. Didn't choose to use it on the left-hand side, and now First Killer playing for a bump of his own, maybe bumping Simas into his own backboard. That would have been a nice way to put a double touch on the boards.
Would have been. But right now they've got to be more careful of what was coming. There has been a demo. It is a 2v3 for the Ultimates on Strictly's half, though. Downfield it goes, has to be met by a challenge, has done so. LJ should be considering a pass, goes solo though, forced into another 50. Chronic's there, demo on First Killer. He has respawned back in time, and it was not enough. Strictly business. Well, they're not just a team that could be walked over at sea.
And in fact, that was 2 resets and 2 50-50s caught off the back of it from Strictly Business. 2 really, really smart plays, I've got to admit, to progress that ball downfield, and the Ultimates caught sleeping again. We're going to try and play for possession off of kickoff with 30 seconds remaining. First Killer off the wall, down to the backboard, and a free chance now for Chronic, but slightly too late, and so no angle into the touch. First Killer to recover, maybe a play all for himself. And First Killer is so hungry to push this game the distance.
Sometimes you just need yourself, belief, and the ability to force it in at will. The Ultimates has got that, but unfortunately do not have time to muck around within the next 15 seconds. They may only have one chance. Off to the back wall, no awkward read. LJ with a little boost here, but he has to commit to up the side wall. Ichigo's made a mistake, and the Europeans are a bit shaky. Infield, over to the man himself with an awful touch by his standards. Hasn't hit the ground just yet, but First Killer has propped it up. Don't you dare call it early! Don't you dare call it early! Normally that's my job, but I'm not happy.
The game is over, ladies and gentlemen in chat. I'm sure you're slightly confused. And to be honest, I thought that ball was down. I thought it was done. There was a few more seconds of play. Strictly Business, though. They've come away with a win, and it's been a tightly fought affair. And if we glance back at the history of this game, it was so back and forwards, and we can see the moments that Strictly Business just had a bit of play to play with, a bit of space to play with, rather. Of course, the first one being that wide open lane down the middle. Fast forward, and the Ultimates, we did have moments of mechanical brilliance. Look at this from First Killer. Reset Court still has the just presence of mind to play that for himself, and to sneak that in the back of the net is just disgusting, Danny.
It is. But I'm enjoying the fact that our broadcaster, who has been doing a fantastic effort, didn't believe that ball was being kept up. Most people, as you said, didn't think it was. But, you know, maybe you've done everybody a favour. Remove the hope. soften the blow. It is 1-1.
1-1 in series. And this game is one we need to take. Infield pass towards Crispy to kick Strictly Business off nice and quickly. They've got dancing footwork at the moment, but hopefully that can be neutralised quickly as we try and bid our war in the possession game. Chronic lets that ball go, shot towards target, and already one opportunity that, I have to say, SB could have scored from.
Could have, and very much no boost here on the ultimate side of things. That's not often we say that. Normally quite good conservations of the boost here. LJ will be making, of course, Crispy dance on a sidewall to the play here, but has got the follow through. First killer to the corner. That demo may have blurred the vision, but not of the main man himself here. 2 demos! How about that? Have at it, lads!
Statement piece after statement piece. And you can tell First Killer had communicated that way ahead of time. LJ has that confidence, and he's always going to sink those home. 1-0 to the Ultimates, and this time we played for a beat-off kickoff. Chronic to the right-hand side, and First Killer with a pre-jumping effort. Chronic up to the backboard once again, and Crispy respecting the play to come forwards. There is some support in Ixo this time around. There's now 2 orange defenders, 1 bumped away. And still, only 1 goal on the scorecards.
Maybe the idea of 2. First killer removed by himself, infield pass, it's a soft one. And once again, the Englishman able to link up. The Lithuanian trying to, of course, advance that ball away from the problem. But it is First Killer who is lurking with the ball here. Crispy soft touch. LT's around here. No shots on target. It has been blocked for the second and third in concession there. 2 minutes gone. And the Ultimates, they are on top. But they've got to have caution.
Absolutely. We want to keep that all-important clean sheet that you've referenced so many times again. What a bump from Ixo to sniff out that danger when it was seemingly impossible to do so. Chronic into the corner. High loop in touch and a double touch bound to the backboard. That one's all the way in field, and First Killer smartly choosing to wait, play the long game, keep the possession down on the blue half and play from there.
First Killer going alone. Didn't have the idea of getting the control off to it, so I was wondering where the option was, but perhaps they may have come something else here. What is in the brain of the Ultimates here is certainly business. They have got the attack, but again, it's only 1 man being sent. Demo here, so try to open the field here. They have the numerical value and advantage on the same side here against the green now. First Killer has split SB completely open in the middle, but nobody to tap home from the middle of the field.
And Simas downfield for a pinch as well, bound towards the top corner, but First Killer, as long as he's got boost in the tank and he's in the right spot, it's going to be comfortable regardless. Chronic bumps out that blue defender as well, pinch downfield, First Killer's there! Oh my goodness, where did that power come from?
How about positional awareness and ball distribution? You had the ability to call it, see it, and finish it all at the same time. SB, you know you have to look where your opposition are sometimes. There is danger in your home right now, and it could get even worse.
Whilst we go ravaging in opposition territory, Strictly Business are looking to find their footwork once again. Diving challenge from First Killer, and Simas allowed the space to play a ball himself, and he's given that one away. Lovely touch over to the sideball from Chronic, and Ixo for a boom forwards. That's 2 defenders back in orange. Lovely first touch to keep that defence nice and solid and away from our opposition as we now look to encroach forwards.
Crispy. Beautiful touch to lay it off here, but again, the Ultimates are just finding themselves in a nice 1-2 stack, able to continue their own play. But how about that for accuracy?
I don't think we need to worry about anything. When it comes to this competition, First Killer is inevitable. If you find him in a pocket of space, he does the damage. long has he been the goal scorer for this side? We've seen LJ in particular have a massive step up in terms of those individual moments for himself too. Infield towards Chronic. Faked away on Crispy. I would have liked to add a sidewall to the collection of nice moments from today, Danny.
I love how if there was a tier list, that was only a nice moment. Not an outstanding one, not a gorgeous one, or oh my word, that was that type of play. It was just good. What kind of standard do you have?
You see, I have high standards because at the moment we're one of the best teams in North America. And of course we're still fighting for that top spot. Why would you count us out? We're looking to progress to that Birmingham Major. We're looking to show to the world just what we're built to achieve. LJ for a fourth.
At this point here, I think somebody might need to tell Strictly Business that they're not playing golf. It is not lowest score wins here. Or in fact, they are allowed to score on the opposition net here. Might need a reminder here because it's a tad bit, shall we say, ridiculous here.
It is. And with 7 seconds left. Oh, come on. It's done. They're already dead. You don't need to be showing off.
Yes,
That is reminiscent of a play I saw from a certain French player. You might know him by the name of Zen. First kill has always been there in the conversation, and he's been doing that since day one. Made it look better than the original one that was hyped up for a ridiculous amount of time, Danny.
I wonder who done that one.
Well, 0 seconds, and the ultimate's away with another win on the board. Absolutely stellar from ourselves, and as suggested in chat, there is absolutely no mercy. We're not going to be finding any anytime soon, Danny.
No, and you don't want that to even give a sniff to the opposition. The moment that a team feels like you've got a thread of hope, you just want to remove it, because teams, when they have their sort of back against the wall, they will find a way just to make a point that we're still in it here. But I'm just having a quick look here, just around the scene as well. Did Gen G run a colour by any chance? What? You're not. No, well, you know, I see Reddles is in full colour in picture, but I think that's what Spaceman is in dark grey and gloomy.
Interesting palette choice. I think it might reflect on the current misery in the booth, but I'm not sure.
Did they lose?
Well, it seems as if they won, and they've qualified, Danny. 3-2.
And they're miserable about that.
And they've got a grey scale to show how miserable they are. Yep.
Well, they can come over and talk to me. I could show you what, being grumpy and disappointing sounds like.
Well, one team that's not going to be grumpy and disappointed is right in front of us, the Ultimates. There's every reason that we could have entered this game with some sort of a slowdown of performance, because it's been going all too well in terms of today's play. So many moments of brilliance that we can go on to remember, as LJ is going to try and play to his own backboard dangerously. Looms above for Crispy to get involved. Zero boost in the tank though, and Simas has none as a third man as well. So Ixo's got it all to do himself and almost squeezed in a first.
We talked about back in the day for a brief moment.
Go on.
And I don't care if this is breaking caster rules, I write the rules. Rival Series legend, EU legend as Chronic scores one. Mr. Rix Ronde is watching. I hope you're doing well, sir, and I hope you're enjoying the show.
Well, Chronic is enjoying his own show. Sometimes as players we like to be smug about ourselves. That one he's going to remember. The connection was so sweet on the first touch, and a double commit off kickoff to try and get another shot towards the target. Chronic now to the backboard, zero boost for first killer. And just as soon as I'm done talking about one play, there's another to work for. Simas is going to launch that one towards target. Thankfully, the woodworkers saved us, and I'm not quite sure how.
The man's talking about degrees of being smug. The man's got a shot name after him. That one's been saved away. It might be the biggest grin here if, and of course, that's an if. It remains 1-0, if not better here, as LJ down the line here. Chronic's there. Now you wonder what first kill is going to do with this ball. He's there. So is Chronic. The backboard's calling. The double's calling. It should have been buried. It should have been put in. But apparently these pesky Europeans know a thing about defence.
And I don't care what's happened with the other games. That would have been goal of the day. Absolutely nothing to challenge it either, as LJ for a solo play venture. First killer with a read and a glancing touch to the backboard as well. And Chronic to kill time. Another bump attempt from Strictly Business. Went a little bit awry and Simas has overextended, as has his second man behind. LJ needs to squeeze a 50 back. Has found first killer in the process. And I'm hoping we can just stick in this comfortable position, but there it goes.
You know, I'm just thinking about back in the day. The old rival series, you know, Rick's Ronde, Burrito B. They would have done better. Those were proper players back in the day. Proper challenges as well, too. Maybe that's just my old sort of rose-tinted glasses talking.
Well, I don't doubt it. Strictly Business have, unfortunately, fell foul to a couple of their own undoings. They're stepping forwards in the play. The Ultimate's no sign of slowing down. Ixo for a demo opportunity and has grabbed 100 boost to try and disrupt us from any ventures forwards. But LJ's already there on the breakaway. First killer refueled with 100 and a shot towards net. Saved away to the right side.
I might have to be getting the chances ready. Europe had one super Rixie. I wonder what could be done with first killer Chronic and LJ here. They're getting ready to have their singing, the chorus and the choir ready here, because it is all about them here. The defence of SB have no answer. They've been stuck here for so long here. First kill is just sort of going, are you ready yet to play? Can you send the ball to me here? Whoa. That one's an excellent save, but never in doubt though.
What?
That's it!
What?
I remember back in the day when a world champion from Italy, his name was Coxer97, who done the very first. This one was my first killer himself.
Reminiscent of something I've seen from a certain Spanish player as well. Marked by 8, let's not forget that historic wall pinch he scored many moons ago. First killer has added another pinch to remember. Maybe we can even look at Astral as well for that moment from the corner. But still, first killer has somehow made that look like one of the best I've ever laid eyes on.
When you say greatness is on the pitch, when we talk about the legends, we had the likes of the J-Naps conversation, the greatest maybe perhaps never to win a world championship, belongs the likes of a lot, Metza, Norris and Magnus. That conversation still has first killer in it. Maybe, perhaps, maybe it could be his year. But what a goal that will be remembered as.
LJ down off the ceiling. We're not done yet. We want more. And chasing back into the back corner. Chronic's going to have to play alone. And LJ is there to see away the danger. Here he comes to lace that ball to the backboard. He's got a follow-up touch as well. Don't you dare squeeze that in with no boost. That's honestly just insult to injury.
I'm disappointed. We saw greatness and we saw the woodwork. Blow the whistle, ref, it's over.
Done. Dusted. And through to the playoffs. The Ultimates in the group of death have come away with a qualification. And an all-important qualification for the sake of our potential spot in that Birmingham Major. A top 8 guaranteed courtesy of that performance. Stiff competition all around, but Strictly Business. We saw them in that first series of the day. We knew we had their number, but for a performance like that to come out is nothing to scoff at.
No, I'm going to scoff at it. There was no cycle. Sorry.
Next time,
I want
maybe.
more. I want more. When you have a series like that, you just don't settle with it. You want more.
It's what we could all hope for, isn't it? And I'll tell you one person who's also going to be wanting more in the back line, SirPigasus. We're going to welcome you back to the conversation, mate. What a joy that series was to watch.
Oh, what a joy it was, especially off the job, just sitting here in the background, just, you know, sitting back, having some snacks, having to spit out my drink a few times with some of the plays that First Killer was going for. I mean, they lose that one game. Then afterwards, First Killer just absorbing the power of past and present legends. We saw, of course, the Zen signature. We saw the pinch reminiscent of the likes of, like you said, Cooksey and Mug by 8. And you know what? The rest of that series, reminiscent of himself throughout history here at the top of North America. Like I said in the last stream we had on Sunday in the Swiss stage, First Killer, some people say he's back, some people say he's never left. I think he is reaching new heights in his career. 2025 will be the year of First Killer if we have more performances like we've had today, like we had last Sunday, even like we had in Open 2. An unreal player, and it's just a legacy which just keeps on building upon itself.
Yeah, and I do honestly think that this is the strongest we have seen that particular player maybe ever. First Killer is seriously performing to those heights currently, and individual moments are what are spelling so much of our success at the moment from that very player. Like you said, we look to the pinch, we look to the ceiling shot as well. Everything seems to be clicking for that very man. And at the moment, he has that support. Chronic and LJ have been putting in wonderful performances. Let's not gloss over it. LJ in particular, across the first two series, I think was actually the biggest difference maker. We look to the moments where a goal needs to be put across, and LJ is there with that pace and that aggression of play to dive in those challenges, throw in those shots. More often than not, it paid off for us. Chronic, of course, as ever, playing professionally, making sure that the team is a solid unit, doing so much work behind everything that may not be visible from the highlight reels today, courtesy of FK's performance. But nonetheless, I think we're going to take a quick look over the runnings from today's affairs. This is the bracket and how it is shaped up over in Group A. And Complexity and Pirates on a boat, ensuring their qualification in the upper side of things. And I think that's an entirely expected result from my point of view. Pioneers and Gen G in the lowers, though, maybe a face-off we didn't expect.
No, certainly not. Well, of course, you do see First Killer and Chronic's former organisation squeezing that one out in 5. I did have an opportunity to watch that series, and it was interesting to say the very least. Very much trading goals, trading games. It felt like you were getting a completely different matchup every single time, but I'm glad to see those two finally make 8. And Danny, your opinions as well.
Well, sorry, well, I'm going to have to disagree a wee bit here.
Go on.
I mean, Gen G looked a more natural team for the lower final, but Pioneers had no right to be there. They didn't look like a side that should have been. I think Omelette on paper is probably a side that's, should be threatening that spot a lot more here. But when you have a man with the lasso, he wants to go out with a bang here. So it's nice to sit there and see. But I mean, we could have easily sat here and had a thought here of an upset of Gen G. That's the type of day we've been having in that upper final. Complexity in the lowers. It could have happened, but it was one of those sort of coin flips here.
Absolutely, and glancing across over to the group which we find ourselves out in, you can see that unfortunate fall in the upper semis, dropping to NRG once again. We're hungry for revenge, and at this point I'm desperate for it. It's just, it's in the writing on the walls, isn't it? Coming forward to this playoff scenarios after today's eventualities, I do believe that is a game that we can take, and today showed all the signs of that. And Tech, not an easy matchup for us in the lowers. We got through it like a breeze, as we did against Strictly Business in the lower finals. But in terms of other crucial series in the grand scheme of that Birmingham qualification, 9 lives dropping so early on in the lower quarterfinals, waving goodbye to their chances as well. And Gas, I know we've been hyping them up as a roster that could go on to do good things, regardless of that sort of retirement that they like to put in their bio. I think they've shown us all what they're capable of. But any other interesting results here, guys?
I was going to say, why don't you just out me there on the retirement comment?
Next time, Danny. So
yeah, thanks.
I'll tell you the situation as well in terms of the Ultimates perspective. Of course, there's a lot of people behind the scenes trying to work out all of the eventualities for teams to qualify for this major, and I'm going to reel out some of the circumstances that we need at the moment. Of course, a top 4 placement guarantees the major in Birmingham for us. but also a 5th to 6th performance and one of 5 or more eventualities to play out. 4 of them have been ticked off. Space Station Gaming, if they finish 4th or worse, we're through to the major. If Gen G do not win, we're through to the major, I do believe. So that is ridiculous possibilities for us, because genuinely, even if we don't stretch to that top 4, it's looking so likely that we clinch that spot.
Well, don't also forget here, in terms of the points as well, complexity as well would also be a potential outcome if they do go on to lose too. So there is more than just one option, even for, shall we say, the more likelier outcomes in terms of that, shall we say, combinations, how things would outplay too.
Yeah, and Pegasus, thank you so much for being alongside us. I know those last 2 series would have been almost a heartbreak to just have to sit back and watch, but it's been an absolute pleasure casting with yourself in the booth again. And Danny Boy ATM, a huge thank you for coming along today. I know that unfortunately, because of the timings, we couldn't have you on for the Swiss stage. We would have loved to see you there, and we're so glad you could make it today, so thank you very much. And behind the scenes as well, Hazard on production, this whole new look and feel courtesy of that very man. So a huge thank you for all of the efforts put in behind the scenes, and of course for the Ultimates, the team, Sad Junior, and also the esports division in the likes of Amar and Medamino, who I've been communicating with to make sure everything's tip-top to go for today. Everyone back at home, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, 'cause I know where I'm next every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's